Welcome back to another episode of the Post Game Spread. I'm your host, as always, Blake Helm, and I just finished wrapping up with Will Vierling, the catcher from Murray State, the sensation. They just went on this epic run to the College World Series, and I had to get him on, had to hear what his thoughts were on the whole thing. This guy has an incredible baseball story, from Wisconsin, ended up at Louisville, as a catcher. The storied Louisville program, they're contending for the College World Series essentially, seemingly every year. Kind of got buried on the depth chart there. Tore his ACL, became kind of like a second, third string guy. Hit the portal, ended up at Murray State, and, balled out this year. Hit over 300, 10 pumps. This guy's incredible behind the plate. He's going to get drafted. And he went to the College World Series, so going from being a third stringer at Louisville, kind of where you're seeing, it looks like your baseball career isn't taking off where you would like it to making a change, ending up at Murray State, and the rest is history. So special. This guy's incredible. We went really deep on some catching stuff. I find that so fascinating. Catchers are so underappreciated in all they do, all the facets of the game, all the little minutia things that they do, managing a staff, managing personalities, scouting, understanding opposing teams' hitters, what needs to happen, thinking through things, all while having to be an offensive weapon as well and still having to work on that. So this guy was incredible. We had a great conversation. We went for about 2.5 hours here. We went through his hitting, his catching, his background, Murray State's run, and then we had kind of a fun Q&A at the end about just some Murray State stuff and whatnot. But we had an absolute blast. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I think you guys will as well. I'm really trying to get some of these Murray State guys on here to really hear what their thoughts were, what was in their head, what was in their heart during this thing, because what an incredible thing. Will forever be one of the most special things in college baseball, that Murray State made it to the College World Series. So really wanted to get these guys in here quickly to hear from them what was in their hearts and head. Like I said, with this one, I actually ended up doing a couple side interviews, and I ended up talking to Isaac Silva and Steve Adkins. Isaac being one of their top pitchers, Steve being their pitching coach. Both guys were incredible. Great takes, so I spliced those in. Typically, with the post-game spread, this is a deep dive, and I do that, but I really wanted to get all these Murray guys in here quickly, so some guys might have an interview or two on the side, some won't, but regardless, the conversation shined through. Will is an absolute baseball dude. I can't wait to watch where this guy's career goes. But anyway, hope you guys enjoy this. This is going to be the Will Vierling story. Thank you for giving us some of your time, and I hope you guys enjoy this. Before we get rolling, I want to say a special thank you to all my sponsors. I could not keep this going without you guys breathing life into this, so thank you again. We have a couple national sponsors, but mainly I am supported by local entities. So nationally, Clean Fuego is incredible, Timber Bat Company, Old Boy Outfitters, but locally, we've got a bunch of guys that I got to talk on real quick. Nate Guernsey, the realtor, former basketball player. This guy's incredible. The Kaiser family supports us. We appreciate you. Grab a Java. They have 3 locations here in the Springfield area. Incredible. GT Performance Consulting. That's Greg Taylor. He has a whole mental skills consulting business. Former guest, Cardinal Cleaning, Adam Springer, former baseball player in the area, SHG assistant coach. The Hitting Center, the gold standard for, hitting facilities in the area for 20, 30 plus years. BSN Sports, Cale Henneman, a former guest, worked for them. They have all kind of equipment, jerseys, you name it, they can get it for you. Hammers Radon Mitigation. This is Les Hammers, a former pro football player and Springfield firefighter. The Office Sports Bar and Grill. I love this place. This is just full of, Central Illinois memorabilia, sports memorabilia. It is so well in line with the post-game spread. Eric Easley, real estate team. This guy's incredible. Played at Western, umpire, just a baseball dude. Glisson Heating and Air. This is Gibbs Glisson. He is the A1, the guy to go to in the area. He does all the pros. He was a part of that Pleasant Plains group coming up that I've spoke about many times on here. Sitco Chiropractic, grew up with these guys, love them. The older brother Ty was a big time baseball player in the area. Milner Dentistry, this is Ty Milner, played ball at U of I. Love this guy, he's my dentist. Body Symmetry, Chad Marshik. He trains all the pros, or used to train all the pros, trained O'Malley. I used to be a trainer there. Love this guy. Sheehan Lawyers, Pat Willie, Pat Sr., um, Pat Jr. played baseball at U of I. I grew up playing with Willie, love the family. Bank of Springfield, this is the Canadians. They've got a whole lineup of professional baseball players over there. Iron Palm Coffee, good friend of mine, John Dre Camp, terrific. The Crafted Stag. These guys are incredible. Lifestyle wear. They've got a bar there. You can get a haircut there. It's like a whole experience. High end stuff. This is Grant Hammer. Love that family. So, anyway, thank you to all my sponsors. We really appreciate you. If you have a need for any of their services, don't hesitate. All right, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Post Game Spread. I'm your host, as always, Blake Helm. Our motto is a journey worth remembering. Sitting across from me, across from my computer here, Will Vierling. This is so cool. The catcher from Murray State baseball team that just went on the most incredible run, maybe of all time for a mid-major type program. They were at the College World Series. I got to see them play. So impressed by this guy. Had to get him on. So we lined up a time, and here we are. So before I let him speak, I kind of go through some of my things and whatnot and why I think the story is interesting and where he's from and a little bit of background. And then we'll get into all the questions that kind of explore his career and whatnot. We've got fun, we've got serious, and a little bit of all that. So before we get going, help me pronounce your hometown.
Mequon.
Mequon. Okay.
Mequon.
Mequon. Got
Mequon.
it. Got it. Mequon, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Out of Homestead High School, where he was first team All-State in 22, rated as the number 1 catcher in Wisconsin, number 26 in the country. Moving on to Louisville, where you spent 2 years mostly as kind of a backup third string guy. There was an injury in there. Had some success in the Northwoods playing for the Madison Mallards, and what a cool yard and experience that looks to be. I can't wait to talk about that. Before eventually landing in Murray, Kentucky with the Racers. You absolutely had a crazy junior year. You've set yourself up to get drafted, which is like, I can't wait to talk about this because, to go from being a backup at the Ville to change of scenery, this guy's going to get drafted, College World Series, just insane. In prep for this, I went and spoke to a couple guys. So there's going to be some clips that I'm going to play during this. So I spoke with your roommate and, Murray State slinger, Isaac Silva. That guy is saucy. One of the top 2 starting pitchers on the team. Love this guy. Looks like he's going to get a shot at another level too. So I spoke with him yesterday, and then I also spoke with pitching coach Steve Adkins because I thought, you guys had to have had a very close relationship, working together closely all the time, and I was totally right. He was so positive about you, just endless praise. So I can't wait to get to some of those clips. They're incredible. So cool, so sharp. Had a great time hearing from him. Before we get rolling here, how are you doing, buddy? What's up?
Doing great. Really excited for this. This will be fun.
Feeling good?
Oh, yeah, feeling great. Yeah.
And you said you listened to a little bit of the Jonathan Hogarth one, so you kind of know what I do and whatnot. So I definitely spent some time researching you here and whatnot. Before we get rolling, while I am based in Springfield, Illinois, Central Illinois, and I have a ton of local sponsors, which you'll hear from, I have some national sponsors too that I'm going to get through here. So first is going to be Clean Fuego. Are you familiar with it?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Clean Fuego. I love these guys. They're changing the game with innovative training tools designed to help players and coaches improve spin efficiency, grip, overall throwing mechanics, built for athletes of all levels. Their products deliver immediate feedback to take your skills to the next level. I absolutely love these guys. Head on over to cleanfuego.com. They've got all kinds of training tools. Next up is Timber Bat Co., and that is Mitch Piatnik, former minor leaguer in the Reds organization. He's a high-level hitting coach on Instagram, got a ton of followers. He does some cool stuff there. They've got heavyweight bat trainers, youth bat trainers, and my favorite are the flat half bat trainers. I wished I would have had those back in my day. Awesome for swing path, instant feedback if you're being too steep, if you're coming up, or if you're being flush. So head on over there, timberbatco.com. They've got incredible designs and paint jobs too that are really cool. And then lastly, we are brought to you by Old Boy Outfitters, What's up, old boy? Old boy is an outdoor lifestyle apparel brand with outdoor inspired designs, perfect for any old boy. So, in fitting with our sponsors, what's up, old boy? Are you ready to answer some questions, my man?
Let's do it. I'm excited.
Cool, man. So I did spend quite a bit of time looking into kind of some of your stuff and whatnot, and it's just so crazy because I kind of just picked your name because I really like catchers and I want to hear what you had to say. And obviously, you guys went on this run, and I wanted to hear what you had to say this moment in time. But I just read this book, The Tao of the Backup Catcher.
Hmm.
Eric Kratz, are you familiar with it?
No. No, I'm actually not.
Okay.
Not
It's
familiar
such a
with that.
deep dive into catching and all the little things that you guys do that you never get credit for. So I went kind of nuts with all my catching questions with this because I'm just so curious to hear kind of what you see about all that. But a lot of these questions are going to be some that I had for Hogard as well, but I certainly
Okay.
had a ton of them that are tailored for you. So let's just get going and dive into it, man. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
That's what's up, buddy. Tell what are your earliest memories of baseball? Let's start there.
So my first memory, I would say probably about 4 or 5 years old. I'm doing it's a two team T-ball league back in Brookfield, Wisconsin, where I was born. I grew up there, and there were two teams. There's red and yellow. I was on red. It was ketchup and mustard. That's what I called them. I was on the red team. And yeah, it was about a week. That was every probably weekend or so. We'd go out there and just play t-ball. Young guys. Had a couple buddies out there, and yeah, that's basically my earliest memory. Then I remember, then it took off from there, I guess.
Rolled from there.
Oh yeah.
Tell me about when the game first grabbed you, when you first kind of fell in love with it. Can you remember that?
It was during that period. I realized that I was decently naturally good at the
Yeah.
game, and I was
Mhm.
like, it's fun. This game's really fun, and I just fell in love with it then, and I wanted to keep playing it for as long as I could.
What age do you feel like you started separating yourself, or were like, oh, this kid's got some talent,
I would not really sure. I would have to guess probably around just before 10, maybe 8, 9 ish area. Probably around 10 when it was like, okay, I can actually maybe do something with this.
Yeah, buddy. I love it. Do you remember your first home run? Tell me about it to the best of your ability if you can. Most of us
Yeah,
can, right?
yeah, no, I do. So it was my first year of no, it wasn't. It was like my third or fourth year of organized travel ball, and it was the first game of the year, and I was hitting, I don't know, maybe fourth or something in the order, and I was leading off, and it was the first or second pitch. Dude, kid grooved a fastball down the middle, and I hit it dead center. At first, I didn't think it was going to go out because I never hit a home run before. I was like, oh, that's going to, I
Right.
don't know, just go over his head or maybe fall at the warning track, but then went over. I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. And I was around, then that was it. And I was pretty shocked, honestly, more excited. I'm going to be honest with you.
I love that. Everyone remembers their first pump.
Mhm.
I always ask this to guys. I mean, a lot of us athletes. I played at Murray State back in the day myself. Have athletic genes on both sides. On one side, there's some influences. You got anything in your family, pro, college, mom, dad side? What you got?
Yeah. So, both my parents played in high school. They played. My mom played tennis in high school, and my dad played football. He played a little bit of baseball in middle school, but was mostly football. My sister played high school softball, but then I have two cousins. One cousin named Mark Vierling, who played for Mizzou for
Mhm.
4 years. Then he also went to St. Louis University, where he grew up. And then I have another cousin, his brother, Mark Vierling, who played 3 years at Notre Dame, got drafted fifth round, I think, by the Phillies, and now he's the center fielder for the Tigers. So I got a little baseball genes in the
I was
family.
wondering if you guys were related. I saw that last name when I was looking up your name, and that
Yep.
kept coming up, and I was like, "There's got
Mhm.
to be some sort of a connection." So, do you guys
Yeah.
talk at all, or is there
Yeah.
communication?
We he texted me when we got to Omaha, and then obviously then after we lost, he was like, "Hey man, it was really cool seeing you guys play. Super proud of you." And it's one of those things. I texted him, I was like, "Hey man, thanks, I appreciate it." Yeah, it was cool having him to reach out like that.
Now, from what I think I know at this point, you're about to get a chance to play professionally, which is nuts because a year ago you were a backup catcher at the Ville. Um, has the goal always been to play pro ball, or did that recently come into your radar? Or what are your thoughts on that?
No, yeah, my goal's always been to play pro ball. It's always been my dream since I've
Yeah.
been younger. It's always what I worked for, and I'm just super. I'm looking forward to hopefully getting that opportunity, and I'm just really excited for it.
Yeah, I love that. This is one of my favorite questions to ask because and it's very common. My relationship with my dad was strongly built around baseball and me, chasing it collegiately, professionally, the batting practice battles, playing catch, all traveling together, all these things. I'd love to hear if that's something that is kind of within you and your dad's relationship, and kind of can you speak to the nature of that?
Yeah, definitely. My dad and I are we're really close. We spent a lot, especially in high school for travel ball. We spent a ton of time on the road. 6, 7, 12 hour drives down to
Yeah.
these tournaments. Countless nights in hotels watching, I don't know, Food Network on the TV, just passing the time so I can go back out there and play. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, just constantly in the cage, throwing to me, teaching me the game, all that stuff. And I'm grateful for him, and he helped me a lot.
How special do you think it was for him to watch you play in the College World Series? I'm assuming he was there, right?
Yeah, yeah, my whole family, the family
Yeah,
was, yeah.
beautiful. We got brothers and sisters too.
I got, yeah, the one sister. She came down for the first game. She works in St. Louis, so she came down for the first game against UCLA, but then she had to go back to work for the
Beautiful,
other
beautiful.
game.
I was there for that first game too, man. It was such an experience. Man, that just chills, just the roar of the racers that we were there, and this like what's kind of funny too, and like some other guys have kind of alluded to this, is that it can be kind of hard to draw a crowd sometimes at Murray at old Johnny Reagan Field, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't need the population of the town. Maybe I don't know, 10,000 maybe. So
Right. It's
I
basically the
mean,
college,
yeah.
you
So I
know?
mean, it is a little bit difficult. So it was really cool to see all the
Yeah,
fans from across the nation rooting for us,
sure.
cheering us on, and it was really special. It was really cool.
Absolutely, man. I'd love to hear about your travel ball experiences and kind of when that started for you. So when did travel ball start for you? Let's start there.
Started early. My first travel ball team was, I think I was 8U. I was playing for a 9U team. I was playing up a little bit. It was more local tournaments kind of around Wisconsin because we were still young. And then as I got to middle school, I went to another local team. We went a little bit farther, Illinois, Iowa, those type of tournaments. And then when I got to high school, I played at Hitters. It's a well-known travel ball team here in Wisconsin. And that was my main team for 4 years of high school. We traveled all around like North Carolina, Georgia, all those places, and it was really cool as getting those experience, like getting that exposure for
Sure.
college teams, maybe pro teams, all that stuff, and it was a great experience. Really grateful for it.
Were there any specific teams or coaches that you feel like are worth talking about that were, special, or, anything like that?
I think especially for uh, well, my head coach RJ Fergus, great guy, love him a lot, and he preached more the toughness part of the game. He really taught that for us, getting us ready for college and kind of getting us ready for that, how, intense college baseball really is. And he did a good job of that. Really grateful for that. And I also want to talk about my catching coach, Marcus Hannell. He was the bullpen catcher for the Brewers. I worked with him over when I was in high school at Hitters. He was great for me, teaching me
Yeah,
catching, how to run the
sure.
game, all that stuff. I'm really grateful for those two.
Beautiful, my man. Well, let's get on into your high school baseball experience then. From what I think I know, 2022 first team WBCA All State, 2022 first team All Metro District, rated number one catcher, number six overall player in Wisconsin, number 26 catcher in the nation by perfect game, Homestead High School. Would love to hear kind of about your high school ball experience, the coaching staff, just how that went for you.
Yeah, so my freshman year, I was fortunate enough to get the starting job on varsity behind the plate. I was super
Beautiful.
grateful for that, and
Yeah,
had a good season. We made it to the playoffs, lost in the first game, which was unfortunate. But I was looking forward to getting back out there next year. But then obviously COVID hit for my sophomore year, so didn't wasn't able to play then. And then junior year, I didn't actually play high school ball. I played for my summer ball spring league that they did. My coach wanted me to do that, so I did that. And then my senior year was a blast. I had so much fun. My senior year, it was the team was great. I was my coach, awesome,
Yeah.
and yeah, we made a decent run in the postseason. Lost to our rival in the like sectional finals or something like that, which stung. But
Yeah.
no, it was a great experience, and I'll remember
Was
forever.
there was there any attention pro wise high school at a high school?
Yeah, there was. I had a couple looks. Obviously nothing crazy, but tension here and there. It was mainly a lot of college. Had a lot of college attention. Obviously, some pro
Yes.
attention.
So then obviously you ended up at Louisville, which is essentially a perennial top 10 team now. They have a chance to go to the World Series every single year. Quite the nod to end up there. Can you tell me
Mhm.
kind of how that ended up? Like when did they start coming after you and how'd that go?
Yeah. So I think they were following me for a while when I was in middle school, maybe seventh, eighth grade, and then
Really?
the summer.
Middle school?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, they were following me for a while, and so then
Cool.
the summer after my freshman year, I got a call from the assistant coach saying that they liked me a lot. They wanted to offer me, and that I was gonna have a FaceTime meeting with Coach McDonald the next day, and
Mhm.
they offered me, and I about a week later I took it.
And what year was this in
That
in
was
high
the
school?
summer after my freshman year, so going into my sophomore year.
Oh, so you were signed your whole high school career essentially.
I committed very
Wow.
early. I committed
So
very early.
was that quite the weight off your shoulders? Then have to worry about that?
Yeah, I
Or
think
you tell
so,
me.
but obviously, there are. I mean, for being committed that long, there are a lot of things can change, a lot of circumstances that you obviously don't have control over. So, I
Sure.
mean, a little bit of
Yeah.
that, but yeah, for the most part, it was kind of I didn't really have to worry about it. Obviously, now with the new rules where coaches can't contact you until I don't know, was it September 1st your junior year?
Right.
I think it's something like that. So
Yeah.
nowadays kids have to wait till they're almost done. But yeah, it was I'd say so, pretty good weight off my shoulders.
Okay. So I have to imagine you're excited about ending up at the Ville. I'm looking at your stats there. I think there was an injury in there somewhere, and you got kind of buried on the roster. So let's just start talking about your experience at the Ville and how that went for you, showing up and seeing all this new talent, and you're competing with these other guys. So let's run through your Ville experience, my man.
Yeah, so obviously when you first get there, I think the majority, most freshman experience, it's kind of a culture shock when you get there. It's like, oh wow, this is the real deal now.
Yeah,
And yeah, I
absolutely.
got there, had a little bit of a shock for that. But then yeah, had a freshman year was okay. Then obviously I had that injury, took me out, and
Was that your freshman year? Can you talk
that
about
was
that?
yeah, I was halfway through my freshman year. It was about late April, I think. I was about 40 at bats in, I think. That was actually funny because we had no more catchers because one of our catchers had a concussion, the other one had a torn meniscus, and the other guy had torn his UCL in the fall. So at that point, I was the only catcher we had, and then I got hurt, and then we had no catchers, and then we had our first baseman catching for like the last 3 weeks of ACC play, and that was obviously that was something else. But yeah, and then obviously my sophomore year, obviously was coming
Wait,
back
wait,
from
wait.
that.
Can you talk about the injury, how it happened, actually?
Yeah, so it was it was in the bottom of seventh, maybe something like that. Ground ball up the middle. I hit it. I turned to run. My cleat had gotten caught in the dirt, so my foot was planted and facing the pitcher, but my
Mhm.
body was rotated and trying to push towards first base. So my knee
Mhm.
basically did one of these and
This is why
just
you always wear molded cleats now, right?
that it is one of the yeah. It was the first year I had worn metal cleats, metal spikes.
Really?
So now I since then I just always going back to molded. That's why I like molded.
Did you know instantly that something was very wrong?
Yeah. Yeah, I could feel it immediately. Yeah.
Okay, so then you go have surgery, and then are you feeling optimistic about the future? Like, hey, I'm going to be the starter when I come back, or what are you thinking at this point?
Yeah,
How's the rehab
obviously
and all that?
yeah, obviously I was just trying to focus in on getting back as early as I could. That's what I wanted to do. It sucks when you're hurt, not being able to play and watching your teammates play without you.
Yeah.
So that's all I was really focusing on was trying to get back out there. And so I hadn't really thought of much about my spot or anything like that. But yeah, focus on that, and then obviously then my sophomore year, didn't have the year that wanted, and then obviously then after that hit the portal.
Can we speak about that sophomore year? Do you feel like you got buried on the depth chart, or what kind of happened? I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where there were obviously I had that injury, and it was one of those things where hats off to the other guys who got hot, played really well, and
Yeah.
no, obviously then there's really nothing I could really do about it other than keep my head down, keep grinding,
Yeah.
stick to the process, and just try to keep getting better as much as I can.
Well, let me ask you this, dude. You've been a stud your whole life in baseball. This is probably your first taste of sitting on the bench and watching. What did that feel like to you?
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit of it obviously it sucked. You want to play, obviously, but
Yeah.
like I said, it was just what I would try to do was just like I said, stick to the process, keep my head down, keep working, and just try to get better. And then obviously when opportunities come up, you just try to make the most of them and just be as prepared as you can be for them.
When at your time at Louisville did you decide that it was probably time to move along?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things, like I said, where I hadn't played as much as I wanted, so I wanted to explore what other opportunities were out there, and I was fortunate enough for Coach Skirka to give me an opportunity to play at Murray
Yeah.
State, and I'm eternally grateful for it.
Can I ask, is that an awkward conversation to go to a coach and be like, "Hey, I want to leave. I'm going to the portal," or how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, I think it all depends on the situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can be especially if they have some expect like it. Yeah, it can be a little
Sure.
awkward and kind of like maybe a little bit of shock, but you know.
Yeah. So then, I think I know a little bit about this. We'll get to the clips here in a second when we get to Murray State. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. From what I think I know, did you go to the Northwoods after this? Not committed anywhere, or how'd that
Yes,
work?
yeah. So
Okay, so
yeah,
beautiful. Tell me about that. Let's talk about playing for the Madison Mallards. And I looked at their website. That looks like a real minor league team. Like
oh yeah,
huge fans, great stadium, cool environment. Can you speak on that?
yeah. So right after I went there to play, it's a obviously I'm from here from Madison. It's about an hour down the road, um, and excuse me, and it's a great place. They sell out almost every night. When I was there, they average
Yeah.
like they average like 6,200 a game or something.
Crazy, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and then they had like I think 250,000 throughout the whole year attendance, which is
Nuts.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
And like at the end of every game, all the players would line up, and you would all the kids and all the parents and all the fans would come down the line, go person to person, just sign autographs
Really?
and get to meet the fans, and it's really interactive, and it was a great time.
How was the competition?
It was good, a lot of good competition, a lot of good players in the Northwoods.
Any interesting housing situations, anything like that?
Uh, actually, well, so when I was there, I'd lived with my teammate at Louisville, Corbin Dickerson, who had transferred to Indiana. I lived with him over the summer. Love my host family. They're my summer family. I call them my summer family. And no, they were great. Love them to death.
Okay. How was the I'm trying to think. So you only played 1 year in the Northwoods, is that right? Or is there
Yes. Yeah. So.
okay, one. So then how did this come about? So you're in the portal
Mhm.
this whole summer. Are people or schools contacting you, or how is this going? I'd love to hear
Yeah.
the whole process of this.
Yeah. So throughout the summer, schools would contact me, be like, "Hey, we're coming to X game to watch you play, Y game to watch you play," and you kind of it's the recruiting process all over again from high school. You're talking to teams, weighing options, and then obviously once you find a team you like and want to play for, you go there.
Now, from what I think I know about your time getting to Murray, you signed pretty late with them, and they were kind of ecstatic to get a player of your caliber. Um, why did it take so long into the summer for you to make a decision?
Uh, I don't know. I guess it was kind of one of those things where I have limited control over it. It's all what the schools and what they want to see. But obviously, I'm grateful that I was given the opportunity to play, and
Yeah.
super super excited for it.
So can you tell me how that went? Was it Coach Skirka that actually reached out to you?
No, so the first contact I had was with one of our former coaches who had actually let Cooper going.
That's right. Yeah.
He had
Okay.
contacted me. We had been in contact for a couple weeks, and then Coach Skirka texted me saying, "Hey man, how you doing?" I said good, and then I said he wanted to have a FaceTime meeting, and then we did that, and he offered me. Then I went down, took a visit, and then accepted it.
What was it about the visit that made you feel like this was the next place for you?
Yeah, it was. I love the campus a lot. I'm
Yeah,
a
it's
big.
beautiful, isn't it?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Smaller but beautiful. Yeah,
Yes, I like a smaller, kind of more tight, close knit type of
me too.
school. I like that. Then obviously what they had they said that obviously they had a good program. Obviously Coach Skirka's had a lot of success when he's been there, and I just wanted to be a part of it. And I was excited to.
Yeah. Wow. I love that. So obviously there's a huge difference between a Murray State and a Louisville, from what I think I know. Can you tell me about some of those differences that kind of are glaring? Obviously, there's a huge money difference, but obviously, hey, Nico Yanko's putting some money into that program, signing up Skirka again. Good things are happening at Murray, but
Oh yeah.
are there any kind of glaring things that you think are interesting?
First is the size. Obviously, I mean
Yeah,
the cities in itself. Louisville's I don't even know 500,000 people maybe in the whole metro area, and then Murray's
yeah,
what 15, 20, maybe the whole. It's the entire university basically. But yeah, so like I said, I like that close, tight knit community, and I can give kind of an example when I moved down there, moved into my apartment, and my family and I went to a brunch place. I'm pretty sure you know Rudy's on the square.
yeah.
Yeah, so we went there and we walked in, and the first thing I noticed how was when somebody new walked in, there was somebody who was already eating at the restaurant who like knew them, was like, "Hey, good to see you." Like everybody knew everybody. And I was sitting there, I'm like, "That's so cool. How the community is so close, where everyone knows everyone and everyone loves one another." And I that was why I fell in love with that part of it.
Yeah, ooh, I love that. Yeah, there is a quaintness to Murray State,
Mhm.
a family feel in some ways.
Yeah, definitely.
What are some of the, like, obviously there was a ton of stuff that the media was talking about Murray when you guys were making your runs, making you guys look even more kind of backwoods than you actually were.
Yeah.
What were some of the funny things that you heard that you guys were laughing about?
First thing, skirt cutting the grass. That's crazy. He doesn't cut the
Where did he
grass.
come from?
I have no clue. We have a great uh, crew who does that, who takes care of the
Right.
field for us. They do a
The
great
field's
job.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great field, and they do a great job keeping in great shape.
Did you
Um,
see all the shirts of him cutting grass and stuff? All the shirts that were made?
no, no, I don't believe I
Oh,
did.
there were tons of people that made like him, like on a mower cutting. I'll send you a picture. It's
That's
incredible.
funny.
Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
derail you.
that's just that is yeah, we have a great team. But other than that, there was nothing really else that's different about it. I don't even know if Johnny Reagan can hold 800. Is that true? I don't even know.
I don't know. I don't know if it's ever
I
had
honestly have no
800
idea.
there, right?
I don't even know. I have no idea. But Skirk on the grass, that was funny. When we first saw that, that was funny.
Yeah. So we're friends and family reaching out to you all during this whole process and whatnot.
Oh yeah, I had a lot of
Yeah.
people reaching out. Obviously, like after we had won the Supers made Domo, I had hundreds of text messages that I had to go through from friends, family, and all of that kind of stuff. And it was really great having people, reaching out, supporting.
Love that. So really strong junior year, man. And you go from essentially not playing very much at the Ville to, 312, 10 pumps, 17 doubles, and everyone raves about you behind the plate. What kind of stands out regular season wise from this season for you? Multiple people talked about you started off hot, like dropping bombs, and then the power kind of cooled off a little bit, but still very strong with the bat all year. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I think the main thing that I wanted to focus on this year was process and just sticking to that process no matter what's happening. Obviously, like you said, I started off hot and had that little bit in the middle, but all I was doing was just sticking to the process because I knew that if all I did was stick to the process, I was going to have success. Because baseball's hard. Baseball's really hard. So
Very
as
hard.
as long as you can make it as easy as possible and do the same thing every time, more likely than not you're going to have success. And that's what I tried to focus on. And obviously, it helped
Yeah,
out.
I mean, it had to feel good to be the guy too. I mean, did Skirka bring you in and say, "I think you're going to be the guy," or did he say, "You can fight for it," or what?
When I got there, nothing was really said, but after our fall meeting, he had said, you're going to be our guy. And so that was
Yeah.
cool. Obviously, from not playing for a couple years to, knowing that I'm
Yeah.
going to play it was exciting. I was really, really excited for the season.
I mean, these are the most formative years in terms of development. So it's almost like outside of your time with the Mallards, I mean, not a lot of in-game stuff to really progress. So for you to get on the field and ball like that had to have felt pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, man, I love it. So I'm good friends with PJ Finnegan. He's been a guest before. He's the head coach at Lindenwood. He says that Coach Skirka is an elite hitting guy, offensive mind. Can you speak to any of his kind of philosophies or things that he says that really speak out, either conceptually, mechanically, philosophy, mentally, anything that he does that really is like worth talking about?
Yeah, for sure. So, especially with me, we talked a lot during the spring and fall about pitch selection. He's huge on pitch selection. You'll see him if you ever the camera ever panned him. He's doing one of these, basically saying it's got to be there, and
Okay.
excuse me. That's mainly what he harps on that a lot, and that's what helped me a lot was pitch selection. Deciding what pitches to swing at, what pitches not to swing at, and I think there's that, and we all had that kind of mentality where see the good pitches and then take the ones you don't want to swing at and just get to the next guy. And we all had that kind of mentality, and obviously that's what led us to having success this year.
And that's also understanding who you are as a hitter too, right? Like everyone's got different zones where they're strong and where they're cold. What were your, hot zones? What were your cold zones where you needed to leave it alone?
Yeah, so obviously it's my mentality is to do damage with less than two strikes. I
Yeah.
try to hit the ball hard wherever I can with less than two strikes. And so if it's a pitch where I don't feel like I can hit the ball hard, I take it. I try to take it. And obviously, if there's a pitch where I feel like I can, I can hit that and do some damage with it, take a hack at it. Then
Where are your
obviously,
damage zones?
middle, in. I like the ball kind of inner half, middle, kind of pretty basic there.
Do you like to ambush early? That was kind of the thing they talked about a ton with Murray State was like, ambushing pitchers early. Is that something that you subscribe to?
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I don't really think about maybe taking the first pitch or knowing I'm going to swing at the first pitch. I just stick that my process where it's if it's a good pitch to hit, I'm going to swing at it. And if it happens to be the
Yeah.
first pitch, I'm going to swing at it. Then if it's
Yeah.
not the first one, I'm not going to swing at it. But yeah, I mean, I don't try to be overly aggressive,
Yeah.
obviously, but it's kind of just like I said, just sticking to that process.
In this day and age where the offensive mentality has shifted a lot, where everyone is taking their a hack, for three strikes. What I've seen of you is a little more old school. It looks like you shorten up a little bit with two strikes and are a little smaller with some of your movements. Is that accurate from what I think I'm seeing?
Yeah. So my main, what I like I said, if less than two strikes, I'm trying to do damage. Obviously,
And
that's
you
why you
were
get.
really hard to punch out too,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But yeah. But my less than two strikes, I'm trying to do damage because if you swing and miss at an 0 pitch, you got two more. So why would you try to just punk and play? But yeah. But when it gets two strikes, I shorten up, widen out, get my hands where they need to be, and just try to be as short as I
Yeah.
can to the ball. Try to put barrel on it.
And you've got a little baby leg kick on your first couple strikes. Do you shorten that a little bit, or no leg kick for the
Uh,
for the two strike, or what are you
a
thinking?
toe tap.
Toe
Kind of
tap.
a toe tap, maybe a toe lift, heel lift a little
Yeah.
bit. Just trying to keep
Okay.
it as short and simple as possible.
And like, how did you get to this philosophy? Because like I said, a lot of guys now are just taking daddy hacks for three swings. Why do you feel it's important to not punch out and fight for that against that strikeout?
Yeah, I mean it's obviously people liked the home runs nowadays. Obviously that's what people get
Mm.
paid for, but obviously
Sure.
you want to be a tough out. I like being a tough out and where it's
Yeah.
not going to be easy kind of just to punch me out or, make me try to get weak contact where I'm going to go in there and I'm going to make you throw your best pitches and
Yep.
if you throw three really good pitches, I'll tip my hat to you and be, all right, cool, you beat me. But obviously I'm going to make you work and obviously then if you make a mistake, I'm going to try to hammer it and ambush it.
Oh, I love that, my man. Let's talk a little bit about the culture Coach Skirka has created down there. I played down there in '07 and '08, and while it was a great period, great time. We were very middling in the OVC, not a terrific program by any means. What is he saying to you guys? What has he created down there that has you guys, running the MVC and running all the way to the College World Series and believing in yourself? I mean, you guys looked like you belonged. Like there was never a time when I was watching when it looks like, oh, Little Murray State is playing against Ole Miss, playing against Duke. It looked like you guys were same level as them. I'd love to hear kind of your thoughts on the culture that he has created down there.
I think if I had to say it in one word, is love. If I had to say it, because
Ooh.
he'd said it in a press conference when we had I don't know if it was after the first game or something like that, where it's true we do presentations in the fall, and where we share obviously things good about our lives, but also maybe things that are not so good. So we open up early and you know share some things that might not be easy to share, and it helps us
Yeah,
get closer and as a group so that we understand one another. We know how we work, and it kind
great
of builds
idea.
that it builds that brotherhood where so that when we go out there, if it's like in the like late in like in, let's say in the super regional or the regionals, it's hot, it's late, we're tired, and that feeling of being that brotherhood, we're so tight where it's not you're doing it for you, you're doing it for the next guy or the guy in front of you, the guy behind you,
Yeah,
or like that sort of thing. We're not you're doing it for the team and not just for yourself. Where we have that kind of brotherhood.
beautiful. How close was this team? How was the chemistry from the outside looking in? You guys just looked like so cohesive.
Oh yeah, we were as close as you can get. One of the closest teams I've ever been a part of.
Really. So just no one on the team that's just like, he's on the outside, like everyone's all a part of it.
Yep, everyone's together. We do everything together.
That is so beautiful, my
It
friend.
is.
I look back on my career and there's all kinds of different teams that you played on, some closer than others, some
Yeah.
teams where people squabble and whatnot. But the best teams that I played on, the most fun were always when people really loved each other and hung out and it felt like a brotherhood.
Yeah, that's
So
exactly what it was.
beautiful. All right. Well, I do consider myself a poor man's swing coach here. Um I love talking hitting. I love your swing. I've looked at it, I've asked you for multiple views and angles and we've been going back and forth a little bit. So how about we look at your swing here and do you want to tell me what you're seeing or do you mind if I told you what I'm seeing or what would you like to do, my friend?
Whatever you want. Let's do what you want to do.
Whatever I want to do?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's do it.
Let's play this guy here. Okay, this is the one that you sent me earlier today. This
Yeah,
was an in-game swing. Oh
that's
man,
the
beautiful. We'll pull it up here again here. So it already starts kind of mid swing here. So you're into a little leg kick here.
yeah.
Yeah.
So my load weight, basically what I feel try to think about is that kind of hip coil. I like to feel that
Mhm.
where I'm so it helps me not kind of fly open as much, so I can
Sure.
get that hip coil, go right at the pitcher, and then obviously if I then get that pitch, I have that coil and that I like to say potential energy for where I can
Yeah.
see it and then just release it on the ball.
Yeah. Building it into your hip. Where would you say it looks like your hands actually do they kind of pump down and then come and then work back up?
Yeah, so I like to keep my barrel upright. So when I load, I
Okay.
like to pump them down and kind of pop the barrel upright because if
Little
you look
tip.
at if you look at a lot of good hitters in the MLB today, a lot of them are upright. When they load and they're in that
Yeah.
position, they're upright. So that's why I try to focus on when I'm doing my work and stuff.
Why do you think that's advantageous for you? Because it feels light or what?
Yeah, something like that. Also, I think it's shorter to the ball. Obviously, if you're
Mm.
flat, you're going to be more likely to kind of cast out and kind of be more around the ball and
Ooh.
be a little bit slower. If you're upright, you have the barrel. It's also going to feel lighter too. If the barrel's upright, it's going to feel lighter than if you're holding it like this. It's going to feel heavier than if you're holding it like this. So if it's
Ooh.
like that, it's just going to be naturally quicker to the ball. It's kind of
Tell
why
me
I
how
think.
you start. It looks like you obviously end up almost like kind of 60-40, 70-30. What weight ratio do you feel like you start at?
I probably about 65-35 is kind of the best way I can, and I kind of have my front foot on a little open, and I have my front leg. I'm on my
Yeah.
front toe. Kind of have that
Okay.
kind
And some I
of.
like. It looks like you kind of start tall and then
Mhm.
almost kind of like drop in a little bit. Is that something that you're consciously doing, or do you agree with my assessment?
Yeah, totally. It's like I said with that kind of hip coil. I'm trying to like get as much energy into my backside as I can, so that when if I get that pitch to hit, I can then transfer it to my bat and then just unleash it on the ball.
Yeah, and there's all kind of hitting coaches out there that talk about blurring the barrel behind you, the barrel working rearward, the barrel flattening. What are you thinking? Obviously, I'm seeing when you're hitting, Let's go right here. Your bat starts to blur backwards, which I love. That's obviously a sign of early bat speed. You're getting into the zone early on path. What you got there?
Yeah, I mean, I like to think barrel speed. I like to think
Barrel
about
speed. Yeah.
not kind of
Hmm.
because it helps me move my hands fast and not my body fast. Because if I try to think to swing hard, I know as for me as a player, I'm gonna be tending to use my shoulders, my big muscles to swing the bat. But if I think just barrel and
Yeah.
hands, I'm just gonna be using my hands. I'm gonna stay in a good athletic position to hit.
I like that. I think you got a pretty relatively compact swing. What would you think?
Yeah,
Would you agree?
I try to be I try to be compact, but also like I like to say controlled violence is what I like to think.
Hmm. I like that. Looks like, I mean, a lot of classic things. Working behind a stiff front leg, that looks great. You have great extension, great decels all through your core. What I really think is cool, and I looked up some more stuff on you, is you really stick your nose in there and refuse to get off it. And there's actually a video of you taking batting practice, and you look a little bit younger. I'm not sure when it's from, but
Hmm.
you're really sticking your head in there. Like you will not get off it. Like after the swing, you're like, your head is down. And I see a lot of that still kind of reminiscent in your swing. Can you speak to that at all?
Yeah, obviously if you're I like it's you see Nolan Arenado do it a lot
Mm,
where
yes.
you swing to where you're looking. Obviously if you're looking out towards the
Yeah.
pitcher, you're looking out in right field, that's where you're gonna swing. If your head's down and you're looking at where you're making contact, that's where your swing's gonna go.
Yeah.
And it helps like I said, it helps me stay controlled and within myself and not kind of get too crazy.
Now, are you at all thinking about getting the ball in the air, or what is your thought with that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously I for me I know that if I hit the ball on the ground more often than not, I'm probably going to be out.
Yeah.
I'm not the type of guy who can beat it on the ground and then leg it out.
Right.
My type of hitting is where I try to get the ball in the air to do damage and
Yeah.
hit for slugging.
Are you thinking directionally anything? Like some guys, think like they really hardly think up the middle or to second base or to shortstop. You have any thoughts there?
I if I see a good pitch that I'm going to hit, all I do is try to hit as hard as I can, and
Like
wherever it
that.
goes, it goes.
Simple sometimes is better, my friend. Um, this would be a perfect time to get to some Steve Atkins stuff here.
Hmm.
How about we go to some of his clips? Are you into it?
Yeah.
Cool, my man. Let's go. Let's start a really cool story. Here we go.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a really cool story for him, and I think he probably he just needed a spot where he was going to get a chance to be a
Yeah.
starter, be an everyday guy, get regular at bats, and I think that's what he was looking for, and it worked out to be a perfect fit. But yeah, as soon as he was able to become a regular guy and had a coaching staff, pour into him, and hey,
Yeah.
you're our guy back here behind the plate. I mean, not just offensively, but especially for me on the pitching end of things. Like I think there's so many things that are unseen about how well he played the catching position and how much he helped our pitching staff. I mean, there's so many things that are underappreciated about his value that he provided our team
Yeah.
this year.
Cool to hear something like that. What you got?
Yeah, it's obviously good to hear.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, Coach Atkins, for the praise. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to help our team win.
I love that.
About it.
So I've got a bunch of clips here, and some of them are a little bit warbly. He was in
Mhm.
in the belly of the beast down in his office at old Murray. So we were having a little bit of problems with some of that reception, but it came through good enough that I think we can hear it. So let's start.
Yeah.
Next one is going to be "In Will We Trust." Here we go.
It is, but I love to talk about this as it relates to Will because I certainly put in, I like to think I put in as much time as anybody on watching other hitters, studying data, and putting together a really good plan of attack. But that's only a really small piece of it, right? Because at the end of the day, there's so many times where you either have to shift what you're doing or you see something that that day, first inning, bang, like you have to kind of change your approach or how you thought it was going to go in terms of
Yeah.
sequencing the game. And I relied on Will so much throughout the entire year. We have an earpiece, we have the pitch comm on the wrist. There's a lot of different ways where we can kind of communicate, but It's really cool. It's special for me to talk about Will in this way because we, as a pitching coach, the way that we went about calling the game together, we formed a really great relationship. And it didn't always go smoothly. There were times where he'd come in the dugout, he'd be ticked off at me, and there'd be plenty of times where we had to hash it out a little bit. But that was what made, I think, our relationship so awesome.
Oh,
But
great.
it was really cool because he just has such a special eye, for reading swings, for knowing our pitchers and what they can do and how they can make adjustments and all that stuff. And because he's so good at that, he's so smart. He sees the game. I was able to rely on him so much. I mean, there were so many times where I just turned it over to him right in the earpiece. I said, "Hey, Will, you guys are rolling here. Just have a really good rhythm, and you guys go attack these guys together."
I absolutely love that clip. There's so many cool things from here about how much he trusted you, how much you guys had to be, cohesive together, coming up with plans and the pitch com, and you're talking to each other. And it sounds like you guys may have even friendly kind of butted heads a few times, like figured
Yeah.
some things out. I'd love to hear about. Do you have anything that you want to riff off of off that clip?
No, again, thank you for the praise, but I completely agree. It was that I feel like that's what made us so successful was the fact that we were
Yeah.
working together. It wasn't just him
Yeah.
or it wasn't just
Right.
me. It was he had his game plan. Obviously, as the pitching coach, he knows what
Yeah.
to do and what kind of guys have a tendency of doing. And then obviously, for me, I'm sitting right there and I can see, oh, he's on either. Usually, he might be a hitter might struggle with this pitch but this game he's on it. So it's like we got to kind of change it up, and that's
Yeah.
where I'd go back in the dugout and be like, hey, I'm seeing he's staying on it more than he usually is. And so that's kind of where we would talk and we would then adjust game plans, just inning to inning and almost even pitch to pitch.
Now, was PitchCom something that you used for the first time when you went to like Louisville, or were you using that in high school, or what?
No, it was when I got to college. It was the first time I'd use it.
Okay. And then what I think I know is I'm sure every catcher would probably like to call their own game. Is that accurate?
Okay, I feel like for me, catchers are stubborn. We like to kind of like have that control because we're there. But obviously,
Of course.
sometimes I'm sitting there. It's like I don't know what to do. But then obviously it helps with having Coach Atkins like obviously he's looking at his sheet and his scouting report. And he
Right.
knows what to do, so that helps. But yeah, like he said, he would be sometimes it would be in my ear and he'd be saying, "Hey, let's go this, and then maybe we'll go to this next pitch if this lands, or if it doesn't, then
Yeah.
we'll go to this." Or sometimes it'd be
Yeah.
like you said, he'd be, "Hey, guys are rolling, just keep going, keep attacking,
Yeah.
keep getting in the zone. Let's get back in here and hit."
Do you feel like you guys got more and more in sync, like as the year went on, and you could like predict what he
Yes,
was going to call and things like that, and just get a feel for
yes,
that?
100%.
Beautiful.
Yes,
Yeah. So you guys had a really good relationship.
yes, I love him. Yes, very much so.
Tell me what's special about him.
I'd say preparedness. He's always prepared. He always has something that he has a plan. He always has a plan. He always knows what to do in certain situations. Where like I said, sometimes I'm like, God, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what to do here. I don't know what pitch to call because this guy's fouling pitches off or whatever. And he's in my ear. He's like, hey, I got the scout report. We're going to do this right here. He has a tendency to do this. And all of a sudden, boom, strikeout. Where it's like, I'm just like, all right, So I think that's what made him so great was how prepared he was and he would think through different scenarios and how just ready he was for just different situations.
I love that. And this is going to be a weird comment for me, but I loved how that guy walked out to the mound for visits. He looked so cool and like not
Yeah.
stressed and all, just
Mhm.
taking his time like he was going on a Sunday stroll. Like I was like, this guy is in control of himself. I don't know
Yeah.
why I felt like saying that, but that was
No. No, it's true
my
because every
thought.
time you go out there, he would be smiling. Even though if it
Yeah.
was like if we're at Ole Miss, it was a 1-run game in the eighth or whatever. He's out there, he's smiling. I'm like, dude, I'm like, it's a tight game. And you're over here like, hey, how you doing? We're doing good. And I'm like, he's just cool, calm. And like I said, that's what makes him so good. He's
Yeah.
just cool, calm, collected. He knows his plan and he trusts it, and that's what made us so successful.
Beautiful. And I've got a great segue into my next clip. He had an awesome clip about one-run games. So let's talk about that. Here we go.
I think there was, I can't think of one in particular when it comes to this necessarily, but there were so many times I think where, it's it can be really mentally draining, I think, for him, anybody going out there and calling a game. In so many one-run close games that we played this year, we probably
Yeah.
set a program record for how many one-run wins and how many one-one games we played.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it can be really draining. I just remember several times where, it's an intense game and we're sitting there and we're making decisions together. And finally, once we come away with a W, like that was the first time he'd crack a smile that day.
Really?
It was just intense competitor mode,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden we win, and I give him a big old hug and a handshake, and tell him, man, it was a great call in this spot, and you won us that game, and just to see it, ear to ear grin from him, and he just loves to win. No, he loves
Yeah.
to win. That's a huge trait of his.
I thought that was an incredible clip, and it really made me think too, because it's easy. I was a center fielder, for me to sit out in center field and be like, man, that must be stressful. These guys pitching right now, or you're pitching and catching, and like, there's
Yeah.
obviously so much more on your shoulders that you're dealing with as a catcher, especially in one-run nail biter games. Can you speak to kind of like the difference in how you feel in a one-run game versus like a game that's like wide open, like 4-run lead?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's definitely more of a level of like heightened, I wouldn't say stress, but kind of heightened awareness where where it's like, all right, I get like we have to make the right call and the right pitch here, or else we could get punished and we could lose the game. There were multiple times this year where it was where Coach Atkins would be like, "Hey, it's all you, go get them," and I called pitches and they were wrong, and then they scored and we would end up losing. And obviously, it's kind of one of those things where it's like that's going to happen, but
Yeah.
it's it is different. Like with one run games, you are kind of naturally, as one is more. I don't want to say you're more focused, but it's like you're more analytical. I think it's kind of the word I like to would say. I'm more analytical
Sure.
when in more one run games. So like, all right, if this, that, my mind's racing, trying to make sure I call the right game. Or all then if it's 4-run game, 5-run game, then it's my mindset's kind of let's attack, let's just get at them, make themselves get out.
Okay.
Kind of
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Do you have any more comments on that clip you played, or can I keep rolling?
Oh, you can keep going.
Cool, man. This one is what makes Will special. Here we go.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think what makes Will special, and I think what's, like I said, going to set him up to keep playing this game for a while here, is he does all of it well. I think there's plenty of catchers out there where it's like, hey, electric arm, or hey, he's an offensive catcher, or hey, he receives really well. But then there's other areas of his game that might really be lacking. But he truly has all the tools, which I think is a reason why so many people are interested in him,
Yeah.
moving forward here. But I think, to me, at least, I have such a great appreciation for the way that he can receive, the way that he can steal some strikes, the way that, again, going back to how we've worked on sequencing and helping our pitchers, attack hitters together, that is a huge strength of his that I think will serve him really well in pro ball, because you can cut him loose. If he's got some information in terms of a scouting report, great. He may not even need it. He's going to be just fine back there, knowing what his pitcher can do, connecting with him, being able to help him make adjustments, motivate the pitcher in the moment, calm him down when he needs to. I mean, he's just so good at handling the pitching staff. I have to highlight that about him, even though there's about 20,000 other things he does really well. That, to me, that's one of the things that jumps out the most. That I think is probably one of the things that's most rare nowadays, is catchers that are really good at that, controlling the pitching staff,
Yeah.
communicating with them well, and helping them attack and sequence really well.
Incredible praise, calling you like a 20-year vet guy. Do you feel like you grew this year as a catcher?
100%. And I would like to give a quick shout out to Hayden Cross, catching coach. Love you.
There you go.
But yeah, especially for, like he said, managing a pitching staff. Obviously, it had been a while since I'd played a full season, and I had a solidified pitching staff that I was going to be working with. So it did take a little bit for me to kind of understand how they work and what certain guys like to do in certain situations. But I feel like once I learned that, I challenged myself, I think, more to be more of a vocal leader kind of when I'm catching, and not kind of just sit back there and just let things
Sure.
unfold. Where I'm out there, it's like I'll go talk to them, I'll say things like I'll pump them up, like Coach Atkins would say, I'd calm them down in the moment if I have to. Where it's like I know how certain guys will like to work, and I know how if some guys like to work fast, some guys like to work slow, some guys love working backwards, forward. Like it just all these different things. Where I feel like this year was a really good year for me, kind of like learning that how to run a pitching staff, and obviously I can credit Coach Atkins for that too, helping me out and kind of it wasn't just me, we did it together.
Ooh, I like that. We did it together. Man, that's beautiful. And I'm loving hearing all this high level catcher talk, man. This is like I'm so fascinated by it. I've got so many questions for you. How do you feel like so obviously you have to handle pitchers different depending on their personality. How quickly do you feel like you can form a friendship, a rapport with them? Like how long does it take?
Uh, it all depends, I think, in my opinion. Obviously there's some guys who are more, I would more or less like, I don't want to say friendly or like easier to kind of talk to and kind of that
Yeah.
way when they are on the mound or when it's regarding pitching.
Yeah.
But then there's some guys obviously where it takes some time where I sometimes I can admit I like to do sometimes I like to do things a certain way and sometimes it can kind of clash with how they like to do things. So we kind of have to find that happy medium and where it can take some time, but then obviously once we get that rapport, it works.
Oh, I love that, man. Let's go to our next one. This is a funny one. This is called Don't Even Look at Him.
For sure. Well, I have to start by saying that
Right there, where you're at. You're very clear right there.
right here. Okay, perfect. I will. I have to start that answer by saying that Coach Skirka is our hitting coach. Coach Wolf assists him with hitters, and they both let me know multiple times that they don't want me to do anything with hitters. Don't even look at them. Don't touch them. We don't want you. So yeah, you have to take my answer here, for what it is. But no, I mean it's special, especially from the left-handed side. Like there's a lot of right-handed hitting catchers out there. So it's a little bit unique. You get to load up the lineup a little bit more with left-handed bats, which I think always helps. But what's really special, I mean, hit for power. He can hit for average. He can use multiple fields. He was so hard to punch out this year. Just crazy, crazy numbers in terms of, going deep into counts and battling pitches and just a really, really low strikeout numbers, especially for a guy that hit as many doubles and home runs as he did. Really rare.
What a cool clip. I'd love to hear. Do you feel like you have the ability to fight off pitches knowing that they're going to be foul balls just to keep going?
Yeah,
Is that something that you do?
definitely. Yeah, definitely. That's why I have that approach because I know for me personally, I know I have really good hand-eye coordination where I can if a ball's thrown 95% of the time, I'm gonna be able to put the bat on it no matter where it is.
Mhm.
So that's kind of the thing where that's why I have those two different approaches to where my first approach were less than two strikes. I can't be in that mindset where, oh, I'm just going to try to flick at balls where I have to, do damage because I know that if I kind of get in that mindset where, oh, I'm just going to hit it, I'm going to, just get weak outs and stuff. But then obviously when I get to two strikes, you're just battling and you're fighting and you're just trying to, like I said, just trying to foul off pitches. And obviously pitchers aren't going to make three perfect back-to-back-to-back pitches every time. They're going to miss. They're going to throw balls in the dirt, throw them high, throw them outside. And obviously if I just I knew if I just kept working the count, eventually he was going to cave and I was going to get the walk, obviously. And it's like I said earlier, where it's, you do it for the guy behind you. You pass the baton to the next guy. You're fighting so that the guy behind you can get that opportunity then to drive you in so they can help everybody win.
Ooh, I love that. Okay, our next one is called Big League Ceilings.
What do you think his ceiling is?
Oh man, I think for somebody that's as versatile and as good on both sides of the ball as him, it can be anywhere. He can be a big leaguer. He really can.
Yeah.
And I think especially because he has that rare combination of being able to slug, but also not strike out very much.
And lefty too.
Left hand. I mean, it's going to play it at any level he plays at. So he's got as high a ceiling as you could think.
Love that.
Cool to hear that.
Yeah, that's nice to hear praise like that. I appreciate that.
And from my own, perspective, and I know baseball deeply, I feel very capable of saying this. I see you playing for Doe someday, my man. I see you playing for the show. I don't know what capacity. And catching is such a wide nuanced position. I mean, you can be a 15-year backup, you know? I'm not that
Yeah.
I'm saying that's what you're going to be, but I'm sure you wouldn't turn your nose up at that if
No,
it
I
was
don't.
the choice of playing in the big leagues or not, right?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind playing
Yeah.
15 years in the big leagues.
Okay, man. This next one is super cool. This is called The Roar. Here we go.
You know, I think that maybe I can't think of a mountain visit per se, but you know what, the one, this isn't a funny story necessarily, but this is kind of a sentimental one to me. Me and Will we were in Omaha before our first game against UCLA, and we usually had, especially near the end of the year, we would usually have our backup catcher Danny Rollins throw a long toss with our pitcher Nick Shuddy, because Shuddy would want a long toss before the game and basically throw pole to pole, and Will would be like, "Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not putting that kind of tax on my arm before a game." So a lot of times, me and Will would be down there down the right field line, just watching the pitcher warm up together, and maybe starting to talk a little bit of strategy and scouting report and what's going to be important for that starting pitcher. So anyway, we're down there together before the UCLA game one for us in the College World Series, and I think both of us did not expect this, but they're starting to read off the lineups, and the crowd's starting to fill in, and it's a sellout, it's a packed house. And you can already kind of hear and feel that buzz of the crowd. But when they said Murray State and started reading off our lineup, there was, I mean, it's 20,000 person crowd. There was a really loud roar behind us, and it just felt like, holy cow! Like UCLA might have plenty of fans here, but this crowd at Charles Schwab is for the racers. And it was like, I've never experienced anything like that. Maybe Will had playing in the ACC, but it was a really cool moment because I think we were both sitting down there, taking in the sights and the sounds, just, enjoying it. And then when we heard the roar of the crowd backing us, we both kind of looked at each other and just cracked a smile at each other like, man, that's pretty darn cool. So that's a memory I'll have for a long time. Just something where it's like, hey, we got to this point together. It's kind of like sends chills down your spine, kind of a cool moment that kind of brought it all together.
That was beautiful, and I was a part of that roar, my friend.
Man, that's getting me in my emotions right. That got me a little bit. Tell me how that clip made you feel.
It's exactly how he described it. It was surreal. I mean, he said I had never. It was like I'd never experienced anything like that. Having 25, however many thousand people,
right,
wanting us to win, and they were there to watch us, and they wanted us to win. It was like you said, it was surreal. It was surreal.
And like we're gonna get into a ton of World Series stuff. We've still got a couple more things here to go, but that concludes our Steve Atkins clips. He was incredible. We had a great talk. He's going to come on at some point, and he was just very, very positive about the podcast and what we're doing. He said he'd listened to the Hogarth story, and I said I want to give all you guys, a platform to talk about this incredible experience. So we'll get back to him, but thank you. Shout out to that guy. He was incredible. Moving on here. Let's move on to some Skirka stuff. Obviously, he became kind of a media darling. Everyone fell in love with him. Ended up being the Mike Martin Coach of the Year, which is just, I still can't believe it, man. But what is so special about this guy? I don't want to put too many words in your mouth. So why don't you just go on Coach Skirka? Why is he so special? What stands out about him?
I say it all the time. I explained to my parents, he's the type of coach you would run headfirst through a brick wall for. I mean, he's there with us. He's hitting us fungos. He's throwing us BP. He's there and he's helping us. And he's a great mentor too. Like you can go talk to him about things that don't involve baseball. You can talk to him about your personal life, about family issues, relationship issues, like anything like that. And that's what makes him such a great mentor is that he's not just your coach. He's a friend and almost like a brother. He's one of us. And that's what made it so special. That's what made it, I think, him such a great coach is where we were willing to do all that stuff for him.
Yeah.
Hogarth said something like, I asked him, do you think you could go talk to him if you had a problem? Go sit on his couch in his office. He was like, I could go to his house.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, man, what an incredible way to encapsulate that. He's obviously a great motivator, players coach. How would you describe him?
Like I said, he's a players coach. You'll do anything for him. He says jump, you say how high. It's one of those where you're just kind of, you do what he says and you trust him. And we trust him. We all trust him. He's a great coach and he's a great baseball mind too. and
Yeah.
he understands the game, knows how it works, and he played it, he lived it, and it's what makes him so special.
And you know what? He's a man of his word too. Like, he's talked about how much he loves Murray and wanted
Mhm.
to build up this program and, all this stuff. And everyone at the College World Series was talking about this was an incredible run, but say bye-bye to Coach Skirka. He's about to get $1 million contract. He's going to be the next SEC, whatever open slot that is. And no one would have faulted him for that. No one at all. No one
Mhm.
at all. And to see that he wants to be there, that, signed up for another 4 years after doing that when he could have written his ticket anywhere else. That just speaks volumes to his character, who he is, his word. Like, wow. Do you have any thoughts on that? That's crazy.
You hit the nail on the head. It just speaks to who he is as a human being. He's a
Right?
great person. I mean,
Yeah.
he's someone that you would, I don't even know how to describe it. He's just,
Yeah.
you said it all. It's got it
He's
all.
like a special, magical kind of guy, isn't he?
Exactly, exactly.
Who else could lead Murray State University to the College World Series but Coach Kirka? Those
That's right.
sentences don't seem like they go together, but they do now, right?
That's right. Oh yeah.
But yeah. Let me ask you this. When you left and transferred to Murray State, could you have ever in your wildest dreams pictured this happening?
It
Be
wasn't on my
honest.
bingo card. It wasn't. It wasn't. But I think for me, it was first the first game of the conference tournament. We were down against Belmont. It was we got punched in the mouth, and it was like,
Yeah.
oh god, like this could be like it was almost
Like,
like the kids the guys who were there last year said that they got punched in the mouth. They were 2 seed and got punched in the mouth, went 2-0. But for us to, I think, battle back like that and kind of and like then Hoagie ended up in that walk off sack fly. After that, I was sitting there, I was like, man, like that's who we are right there. That's like even Coach Skriger said, that's racer baseball. That's who we were, and it was just that scrappy. We're never gonna give up. We're just gonna keep fighting, and then we just took that momentum and just rode it the whole time through.
ooh, that's racer baseball, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you guys have any kind of like mottos or like, war cries or anything like that this year? Was there anything like that?
It was that right there. Like so after, especially in the postseason, after every game, we'd all kind of get in a little huddle. Especially after like big wins, we get in a huddle right in the middle of the dugout, and Coach Kirker would act like he's kind of looking at like a clipboard or something like that, and we'd look at him and be like, "Hey, Coach, come on, get in here!" And he'd be looking around like, "Oh, me? Yeah, come in." And he'd run in, and then he would just go crazy. We'd all go crazy, and we'd just be screaming, and then he would say like, "That's racer baseball right there," and that's kind of where I like that. I was like, "That's racer baseball. That's who we were. That was our identity throughout the entire year."
Ooh, that's racer baseball. That's incredible. Yeah, he's got such great energy. He came as an assistant the year after I finished up, and I've always heard the best things about him, and I've had some interactions with him, and he's just got like a little bit of glow to him. There's something special, but a little razzle dazzle, like in like a magical way. I don't know how else to explain it. Maybe that's a little
Oh, for
clunky,
sure.
but there's something
Oh,
special about him.
it's
Obviously, there is what he's doing, how he has you guys believing in yourselves, taking Murray State baseball to the College World Series. It's just crazy. I asked Hogarth this too. Did you guys think you had a special roster or a really talented roster in the fall, the start of the year, or what were you thinking you guys had?
I saw us and I was like, this is a good team. This is a
Yeah.
really good on paper. This is a very, very good team. We had the experience. We had a lot of guys coming in, but there was some doubt. Obviously, there will be. And we got punched in the mouth pretty badly in the fall. We went to Western and got smoked.
Hoagie
We got
said.
we got smoked against SEMO, and we were sitting there. We're like, oh, like gosh. And I think it was after that where we were like, that's not who we are. That's not who we can be. So now let's focus on not who we are right now, but what we can be and work towards that. And I think that's what made us so special throughout the year.
We can be. Ooh, I like that, my man. I want to hear more about the process of how you and Coach Steve Adkins kind of get information, take it in, all the scouting reports, and how you decide what you're going to be doing, and how much of that are you able to store in your head, like as the batter comes up and whatnot. I just sorry to put words in your head, but I'd love to hear
Yeah.
kind of about you guys' process of getting information, how you go about using it.
Yeah, so like I said earlier, he's very prepared. During our scouting report before the game, he would come around with a sheet with all the hitters' weaknesses, their like averages, all this stuff, like a bunch of information. Where I'm like, oh, okay, cool, this is great information. So I'd look at it and I would take it home and I would look at it and I would just try to remember as much as I can. And then obviously then throughout the game, we'd work together. Sometimes we'd have to change certain things based on how our pitcher was doing or how the hitter might have made an adjustment or something like that. Where it was kind of like it was flexible, but it was flexible but organized. Like we knew what
Yeah.
we had a plan, but we could kind of weave in and out and kind of make adjustments here and there.
And then this PitchCom was way past my day. Can you explain to those people out there that do not know what PitchCom is, kind of what it is?
Yeah, so Coach Atkins has a clipboard with a kind of a I don't even know what it is. He knows the sequence where it has a bunch of buttons where it's different pitches and the locations. I don't know where they are, but and I'd have a wristband and he'd punch it in and I'd just look at it and it would say we had a system where it would be 3 was third base side, 2 was down the middle, and 1 was first base side. So it'd be 3-1. That's fastball on the third base side. So it'd be like that. Or and then if we only did that when there was runners on second base, or if it was dark and they couldn't see hand signals, or other than that, he would be in my ear and say, "Hey, let's go fastball away," and I would put it down. And
Okay, so
it was basic. It wasn't. We didn't have the one of the earpiece where the coach would type it in, and the catcher and the pitcher could hear it. Whereas he had to tell me, then I would give him the sign. It's kind of like that.
so both you and the pitcher have a little wristband on that is giving you information, right?
Yes, and the middle infielders, I believe, had one too.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that too.
Yeah, because we
Everyone's
also
in on it.
yeah we'd have a pickoff because we had like pickoff plays
Sure,
where it'd be
that
like
makes
where
sense.
it was like if it was like a no look where I'd have to flip my glove to drop the infielders would have to know to break and they'd have to know basically the calls on. So
You just talked about two variables, pitch and location, but you didn't say anything about high low. I mean, is there anything that you can?
yeah, we did have up and down. I just didn't mention it. We
Okay.
we also had
Okay.
expand. It was expand. I think it was expand. So if it was a fastball, it would be expand away or up. If it was a breaking ball, it's just expand down, like bounce it.
Now, can you talk back to him with your earpiece and whatnot?
No, so sometimes he would go like he did in Oxford. It was actually I think it was the pitch where it was the second out of the bottom of the ninth, where Graham had struck on that guy out looking. He was like, "Hey, do you think we can throw a curveball or a fastball? Shake your head if if you think we should throw a fastball, or like give me a nod if you think it's a curveball." And so I would kind of look at him and kind of just give him one
Yeah.
of those. He'd be like, "All right," and he'd punch it in, and
Mm.
then it was like that.
Interesting. Interesting. In summer ball, were you using PitchCom at all, or is that all on you?
It was me. I
Okay.
was calling the game. Sorry, well.
I mean, that's the art of the game, right? Learning how to call your own game. That's part of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I read a couple when I was younger. I read a couple books about it, how to like call games and kind of like how to do that kind of stuff. So I feel I was always really good at calling games and kind of
Yeah.
like running pitching stuff. I was always pretty good at it, but this year was the main year where I kind of had to like bring it all together. If you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Do you remember those books?
No,
Okay. Interesting.
unfortunately, I don't.
Okay.
I think yeah, I don't.
You remember?
No.
Okay. Tell me about how you became a catcher. I'm always interested in this. It's either like there's so many different funny ways people become catcher. Either they're like someone tells them to do it because no one else wants to do it, or you're the unathletic kid, you're the fat kid, you're the kid that can't pay attention, so you got to be in the mix. Like what is it? How'd you end up there?
No one wanted to do it, and my dad was the coach, and he threw the gear on me, and the rest is history. And then
Did you
I found
like
out,
it right
oh,
away?
yeah, well, not right away. I realized I was like, oh, I'm actually like pretty good at this. I'll keep doing it. And then
Yeah.
as I got older and I was able like, oh, you can do so many cool things. You can throw guys out, you can backpick, you can block, you can receive. Like that's when when I realized there were so many different aspects to catching rather than just catching the ball. Whereas when I
Yeah.
fell in love with it.
Well, perfect. In my next question, then, what do you love about catching? What are parts of it that really stand out to you?
The main thing for me is that I'm involved in every
Yeah.
pitch. I'm there. I have a say in basically what happens almost. And it also helps when you're from an offensive side, if you where you could be having a rough game at the plate. You could be 0 for whatever, but you can be like, all right, I didn't hit well
Yeah.
today, but I can go behind the plate
Yeah.
and still help our team win.
Well
I can
said.
block a ball with bases loaded. I can block a ball, save a run from going home. I can steal a strike, get
Yeah.
a strikeout in a clutch situation, like just different things like that. Where it's like, okay, you didn't play well in one aspect, but then you can also help your team win in the other.
Catchers have so much value behind the plate. You know, I just read this book, like I said, the the Tao of the backup catcher. It's absolutely fascinating. It talks about essentially guys can make careers if you're a strong catch and throw guy and the staff likes you and you're observant. I mean, you can hit a 200 and be a 10-year, backup guy. Like, and that's a career. And I thought
Mhm.
that was fascinating. Here's a little passage that I wanted to read from that book. I thought it was beautiful. And you just tell me if any of this resonates with you, because there's so many things that catchers do that are just unsung that you guys don't get credit for. All the little things, the little nuances of the game. I'm going to read it here. I think it's just beautiful. Highly recommend this book. Somebody throws a pitch that wins a baseball game, and that's the guy who gets the parade. Meanwhile, somebody else encouraged that pitch in a bullpen session 3 days before, corrected it, scattered the man who was trying to get the hit, watched the man's at bats in the second, fifth, and seventh innings, noticed he had edged back 6 inches in the batter's box in the ninth inning, called the pitch, got the head shake, called it again with jabbing fingers and a glare, then caught the pitch when it was the perfect pitch at the perfect time. Afterward, he's asked why the pitcher was so damn brilliant. Does any of that hit home with you?
That basically sums up what catching is. It's a complete it's a thankless job. That's how I
Yeah.
say it. It's a thankless job, but I think it's one of the most important ones out there.
Oh my God. Yes. You are the absolute backbone of the team. You are the therapist to the whole pitching staff. You have to know all their stuff. You have to manage their egos. On days when the team gets an off day, guess what? If a pitcher needs to throw a bullpen, who's there? Someone's got to catch them, right?
That's right. Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
all the wear and tear on your body. And I think back to my time as an outfielder and think I really had so little to focus on. And like you have so much that, outside of other parts of the game. And I was just worried about my hitting and my fielding essentially. And you're having to manage all these things and spend your time doing this. And you can't spend as much time hitting and all this stuff. So just incredible. I have so much respect for you, my friend. Let's see. What are some things that you have to do um, as a catcher that you feel like no one knows that are like kind of your little unsung things?
I think for me personally, this year I really tried to focus on mobility.
Oh,
My main thing this year was I wanted to stay healthy throughout the whole year. And also it also helps with, like I said, staying healthy, but also helps with like, recovery. If you're flexible and you can move well,
sure.
you're not going to be as tight or as sore maybe the next day.
Yeah.
And that was mainly my main focus, at least for me this year, was mobility, making sure I feel good so that I can obviously then play at my best.
Are your hips naturally loose?
Hmm?
Are your hips naturally loose?
Yes, I do. I have been told that in the past where my hips are just looser. I think it might have just been from catching over the years that they just naturally loosened up. I don't
So
know,
what
but
kind of mobility stuff are you doing that you feel like is really beneficial for you?
yeah, we have a hip mobility series that we do at Murray before some lifts that I like to do a lot. I've been doing it every day since I've been back. Just trying to make sure I don't since I'm not catching it anymore through a whole season. I got just make sure I'm staying loose, not really tightening up or anything. With I basically just do mobility every
Okay.
day. So.
If you couldn't catch, are there any other positions that you feel like you're proficient at? You can be thrown out there.
I feel like I'm athletic enough where I can play everywhere. Coach Skirka had me playing first base a little bit in the fall, in the spring, maybe a
Okay.
couple scrimmages. I played first. I used to play first a little bit in high school, but mainly catcher.
Let me ask you this: do you feel like you're a therapist to your pitching staff at times?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, because I mean, like I said, if someone has a bad game or something, where it's like you can be there to help them, coach them, or whatever they need,
Right.
and like that, like I said, that's kind of what a catcher is. You have to be kind of that
Yeah.
proactive, I guess, therapist to your pitching
Yeah.
staff, basically.
And obviously, you have to know them well enough to know what they respond to, right? Because not
Oh
everyone
yeah.
responds to the
Mhm.
same sort of motivation or pep talks or kick in the butt or soft
Yep.
feel. So, do you feel like you have individual ways in which you talk to each pitcher on the staff?
Yeah, for sure. I'll give an example. Isaac Silva, when he's warming up,
Yeah.
I don't say anything to him.
Really?
He's doing his own thing, and I don't say anything. But if there's some other guys, where if he's warming up, I'll be like, hey, I noticed that, or that. Maybe you can do this with a curveball a little bit more, maybe get it down. But with Isaac, when he's warming up, I just let him go, because I know that's how he likes to go. I just be quiet, catch, and he likes to figure it out, and he does. That's why I'm
Did
so
you guys
successful.
develop a pretty strong relationship this year?
Yeah, well, we were roommates.
Yeah,
So
I know.
we were very close.
Well, this is the perfect time then. Why don't we go to some Isaac Silva stuff then? You ready?
Awesome. Yep, ready for it.
He's a character, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
And I'm not going to play the clip, but he talked about and he was laughing about it. He said when you guys all moved into your place, it was you, was Nico one of those guys?
hmm
Who's the fourth guy? I couldn't remember the name.
Matt Parento.
Okay. All right. You guys have some dudes on that team. He said that you were kind of holed up in your room for a while, wouldn't come out. What you got?
Yeah, that's kind of who I was in the beginning. Like, I knew for me, it's I just really didn't. It takes a little bit for me to kind of get comfortable in
Sure.
certain situations where it was kind of where it was like I just had to kind of just gradually build into it where I could like I don't want to say like trust, where like I could feel like where I was close with them, where it's weird, but it's just I don't really know how to describe it, but it's just one of those where it takes a little bit of time for me, but once I get
Sure.
there, it's
Good to
great.
go.
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
it. All right, here we go. Isaac Silva, one of my favorite catchers. Here we go.
To be honest, our relationship as a catcher and it was always good. Like we always talked about it. He's one of my favorite catchers to throw into. That's something that I've told him, his ability to steal strikes, especially, we
Yeah.
talk in the dugout also. It's just like, what do you think's working here? What should we go here? Like he's giving me constant feedback of how we're gonna do the next inning. Like we should do this. I'm not feeling comfortable with this. Like we're constantly talking. I
Mhm.
mean, and then also like his blocking skills is something that being able to pick the ball and block it and keep everything in front of him and limit the extra free bases that he did, like that was
Mhm.
something huge. And then that's like something that some people may lack, but I feel like he hit all the criteria of being like a catcher, trying to be able to
Yeah.
be a defensive player, but also do it on the offensive side as well. Like he was able to do both.
Cool clip. Let me ask you this about stealing strikes, and I've always been fascinated about this. Obviously, you can only do so much of it, right? And then umpires like catch on or they get offended. How do you pick your spots and like how often do you feel like you try to do that?
yeah. I mean, for me, I try to not go overly crazy. Like if there's a
Right.
ball
You're not like,
that's
woof.
yeah, if there's a ball like half an inch off the ground, I'm not gonna try to boom and try to stick it. Like, because at that point, the umpire might be like, "All right, dude, come on, like that's
Yeah.
not gonna fool me." Or like, mainly what I try to focus on, if it's close, like if it could be a strike. Like I like to think about it where if I'm hitting and if I might try to foul this pitch off, I'm gonna try to frame it because
Yeah.
it's that close. Basically, what I
Beautiful.
like to think about.
Is there a particular pitch that you feel like you were good at stealing, like an area?
All of them, I think.
Oh, all of them?
I think I was pretty good at
Give me a
all of them.
guess. How many strikes do you feel like you can steal in a game?
It all depends. A lot of times, like I'll say with guys like Isaac, I didn't really have to steal a bunch
Yeah.
because he was getting them out himself.
Right.
But I mean, enough to where I feel like it impacted the game. I think
Yeah, for sure. I love that. Have you ever had an umpire be like, "Come on, dude"?
when I was younger, I
Yeah.
think when I was younger, but not
Okay.
this year. No.
So you just get a feel for what's appropriate and what you can kind of get
Yeah,
close
for
with.
sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like before when the pitcher's warming up, I'm talking to the umpire like, "Hey, how you
Yeah.
doing?" Like I start building a relationship with the umpire. Hey, how do you like to call? Do you want me
Yeah.
to move my glove a bunch? Do you not want me to move my glove a bunch? Do you want me to
Cool.
move to the center? Do you want me to move to the edge? Like I do that type of stuff where I know what the umpire's kind of thinking and how he kind of likes to work too.
Fascinating. That was one of my later questions was how do you build that relationship with an umpire and what kind of
Mhm.
conversations are you guys having back there, like during the game?
Yeah, like in the beginning, I was, "Hey, how you doing? Might as well. Where are you from?" That type of
Yeah.
like just basic questions to kind of get introduced, and then I'll go into the baseball stuff where it's like I just said, what do you like to do with this? Do you want me to do this? This? How do you work? And then throughout the game, we're just talking. I mean, if
Yeah.
something funny happens, we'll joke about it. If yeah, it's just you're talking. You just have a good relationship with them, and it obviously then just he'll end up rewarding you.
That's cool, man. I like that. This next one is called Offensive Will.
It's crazy though, because like we talk about our whole offense as a general. Like 1 through 9 has just been like that was our power suit of what everybody's been saying. That's our power suit. And he was batting in the 4 hole early. Because like he started off the year hot, having 3 home runs opening weekend. Like we're just like, okay, he's gonna fit that role. And then the home runs started slowing down, but like he was still being able to hit for doubles and singles. Like he was still doing his job, but being able to like also communicate it with the other guys in the lineup, what like his approach is. Like he sees something, like it's just a constant thing if he's trying to help himself and also like all the other guys, because like he was talking to Dustin Mercer as well. Like if he sees a guy that's throwing probably 93 plus 95 where he stands in the box, or if somebody's throwing a little slower, that's where he stands. That's where he honestly he's been a really good 2-strike hitter as well. He's able to see it long and basically just slap it out there to like the opposite field when they ended up the defensive side started playing the pull side. Like he made those adjustments that he needed, which was really good for us.
Cool, Clip. You got anything?
Yeah, I mean, like you say, he said it all. Basically, I mean, it wasn't just me; it was everybody. We all did that. We were all constantly talking to each other. We're all constantly saying, "Hey, this dude's slider's moving this much. His fastball's moving this. He's setting up on the far side of the plate to lefties, so it's more of a crossfire." Like we're all doing that. It wasn't just me. We're all doing that, and that's kind of why we were so successful. We were willing to kind of forget about us, or like yourself, and then be willing to help the next guy, so that he could be successful, so that you could, like I said, that we could win.
Love that. Let me ask you this. Obviously, you have extensive knowledge calling games and whatnot. When you're hitting, you have to be thinking along with the pitcher, right? Too, like thinking like what is likely, what is coming. Are you a guess guy? Will you be like, no?
No, I'm not a guess guy. Sometimes I will be like, there's no way I get there. I'm 100% not getting a fastball here. But my main approach is I'm ready for the guy's best fastball, then I just adjust.
Interesting. Do you at all care at the side of the plate? Like I'm ready for his best fastball middle in, or you're just ready?
Yeah, I'm looking for that best fastball middle in. That I'm looking for the best fastball that I can hammer, that I can hit really far. And then if it's not there, I just take it.
That's for sure. Okay. Here we go. Silva, man of his word.
It's funny. Right after we had came back from Oxford Regional, I'm talking to Will, and like everybody's talking about like doing something different with their hair and stuff. And I looked at him and I said, if you go to Omaha, will you shave your head? He's like, I'll definitely shave my head. I said, you want to shake on that? He said, yeah. Shook my hand. And then when we got back from Durham, he ends up shaving his head that next day. So I was just like, dude, I mean, you're a man of your word, and I have to give you that.
Man of your word, you did. Let me ask you this. I'm looking at you now. You got a strong goatee going. Have you always been a goatee guy, or what's your thing?
That was COVID. COVID was COVID was when I grew this out. It was I was early in high school. I didn't have any of this, but then obviously when COVID, I was like, I'm not gonna shave. I'm not going anywhere. We're all here. I'm sitting in my house. So grew this out, but then he's right. Well, I actually had said it earlier in the year, like way early, like right in the beginning of the year. I said if we go to Omaha, I will buzz my head, and everyone kind of had forgotten about it. But I'm sitting there. I'm like, I said it. I got to do it. Even though some people,
I noticed some of you guys did some funny stuff, like Nico bleached his hair and stuff like that, right?
Yep. Yeah, we had a couple guys who shaved their heads, and then one Graham shaved his head and bleached it.
Yep. There you go.
He looked like Eminem, honestly.
All right, next one is called "Sky is the Limit."
I mean, if he keeps doing what he's doing, I feel like he could definitely potentially make that big jump to the big leagues. But like there's a lot of different things that like we don't know that like stuff can happen in his career, because I know has been injured in the past that could affect him. But like what he wants to do with it, and like how just like calming and just like as a player, like I feel like the sky's the limit for him.
I love that. No, he told me that he has a nickname for you. What is that nickname? Are you gonna say it? Do you want me to say it? I don't have to say it.
You can say it.
Squilliam? Is that it?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah. That's fine. Yeah, Squilliam, yeah. Okay.
Or was there a way worse one?
No need to worry about that. I thought there was another one that was gonna be said, but no, Squilly, yeah, Squilly was yeah. I don't know where it came from either. So
He didn't know where it came from. He decided it just like came to him. He seems like that
yeah,
kind of guy. He just says funny things sometimes. That was great. Let's go. Let's have some fun.
Um, you know what's funny at Omaha, like this is a funny interaction. We're like, we're after the inning, I get out of it. I look at him. I said, "This shit's fun, isn't it?" I said, "Come on, man, let's have some fun." That's a good interaction. And then another time he comes up to me, he's just like, "No, man, I just want to talk to you, give you a breather." I'm like, "All right, well, like, I understand you want to talk to me. Like, I may or may not have been like throwing quite a bit of pitches in the inning, but like, I'm like, let's just get behind the plate. I'll figure it out. I promise."
What were some of you guys' interactions there in the College World Series? I'd love to hear that.
yeah. I mean, this is exactly that. I mean, exactly what he said.
Yeah.
I mean, he said I would sometimes I gotta go out there, and he's like, and I think that's a testament to the type of competitor he is, and why he was so successful. Was I went out there, I'm like, "Hey, give him a breather," and he's like, "Okay, go back there. I'm gonna figure it out. I got it. I got this." And I'm
I
like,
got
"Yeah,
this.
I know you do. I believe in you. We all do." And that again, that'll be a testament. That's a testament to how good he was and how good he
Yeah.
is. And that's why he's such a good competitor.
What was so special about him as a pitcher? Can you speak to that?
He once he started his competitive nature by far. But I knew he was the first game I caught him, and he started talking to himself on the mound and started talking like to the hitter, but not like directed at it was like directed at the hitter, but he wasn't talking to the hitter like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're done. I'm gonna strike you. Like, you're done. I got this. You're done." And once I saw him talking to himself, I'm like, "Yeah, this guy's a psycho, and he's really good." So
I love that, man. You gotta be a little different to be a pitcher sometimes. This next
yeah.
one, I'm not gonna tell you what it's called, but it just made me laugh, and it seems like it was one of those inside baseball jokes. It's just funny, so I'm just gonna play it. Here we go. It's called misbehaving.
Oh, like because like like I like to mess around with the guys. I'm very like energetic or whatever. And then I sometimes go to Will. I'm just like, "Man, you're misbehaving. Well, you're being a bad boy." He's like, "No, I've been a good boy. I don't know what you're talking about. I've been a good boy." I'm just like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yeah, I've been a great boy."
Not forever is gonna be on a podcast now.
Yep, yeah, Isaac, I'm a good boy. All right, I'm being a good boy right now. So,
Confirmed. Will is a good boy. You can't be calling him.
yeah, I don't even know where
Is
that
there-
started from either. I don't even know where that
You don't
came
know
from.
either. It's just a funny
He just
thing.
started saying it. He just started saying it, and we just rolled with it.
I
don't know
I
why.
thought it might have been from the show The Righteous Gemstones, but he said it was not. I texted him and he was like, "Nope, no."
Fantastic show, by the way.
Incredible, isn't it? Yeah.
Great show. I'm watching the last season right now, actually.
Oh, so good. What is it? Mama told me not to. I did anyway. Misbehaving.
Yep.
Remember it? Okay, that's
Yep.
where I thought it was from, but I guess not. And
No.
that's my first time singing on a podcast too. So okay, I think that is the conclusion. Yeah, it is of our Isaac Silva. So thank you to that guy. He was incredible. I loved watching him out there. Like I said, super saucy guy. Can't wait to see him playing some pro ball. Moving on to some more questions here. What are some reasons that you might feel like it is appropriate to take a mound visit? And is that your call or is it always the pitching coach? Like, do you have the freedom to be like, I want to go out there right now?
Yeah, it was both of us. Sometimes Coach Atkins would be like, "Hey, go talk to him, go slow him down. I might come out there. I don't know." Sometimes he would say that, and sometimes I'd just be like, I feel like I see something, or he's speeding up a little bit. He's thrown 25 pitches. So I got to go out there, just calm everything down. Or sometimes it could be like a big situation where I go out there and I'm addressing everybody, not just the pitcher. I'm addressing the whole infield where it's like, "Hey, we're going to do this play. We're going to do this. We got to make sure we're knocking stuff down." Like it all just depends on the situation. But no, I definitely had the freedom to go make my own visit, but it was also Coach Atkins would also tell me to go out there too.
What's the funniest mound visit you've ever had? Has there been any? Are there ever any funny ones? Or are they pretty serious usually?
They're usually pretty. I'm trying to think. I can't really think of the funniest mound visit, but I forgot who I said it to. But I think I said a joke to somebody where it was like, it was at the Ole Miss regional, but I forgot who was pitching, and I said, I could tell they might have been a little nervous. So I went up to him. I was like, "Do you hear about the circus fire?" And he was like, "What?" And I was like, "It was intense." And then I just walked away. And when I got back, he was laughing, and then he ended up throwing really well. So it's kind of like sometimes I'll do that. I'll maybe go out there,
With the
throw a
tension.
joke, just throw a
Yeah.
joke, like just
Yeah.
lighten the mood, like just kind of because it doesn't always have to be. You need to like figure like it all just
Of
depends
course.
on the situation. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you've obviously seen Bull Durham and like the famous scene of like them like candlesticks makes a good I always wondered
Yeah.
like are there ever mountain visits that are silly
Uh,
like that?
no, not this year. There wasn't any really. We were all most of the time we were all business. So
Okay, this is gonna be a fun question for me. Stylistically, talk to me about how you catch. Back in my day, and it shifted not that long ago. I feel like catchers had to be on 2 feet. That was like you were squatting, you were 2 feet, and now guys look so athletic. There's knees down, you're moving around. Were you brought up in that stylistically, and it changed over time, or tell me about how you catch?
yeah, so I was always taught and brought up as catching where you're on 2 feet and you're catching. You're a catcher. You move and that stuff. But it was actually this year was the first year where I was only on my knees, and I
Right.
think it was. I think that was a part of why I had made uh why I had approved. Was because of that making that adjustment where it's like so. For example, something you don't think about. So if there's a right-handed hitter up, I'll be on my left knee, so that kind of it drops my left shoulder just a little bit because I know the umpire is going to be in between me and the hitter. So if there's a right-handed hitter, he's going to be here. So if I drop that shoulder, he's going to get a better view of where I can steal some more strikes. And obviously, if it's a left-handed hitter, I'll be my right knee down, so it drops my right shoulder a little bit because I know he's going to be here. So
Whoa.
because it basically makes it a little bit easier for umpire to see little nuanced stuff like that.
Is it easier or more difficult to block pitches from that position?
At first, it's more difficult, but once you just practice it and you just get more comfortable with it, it becomes easier. I think it's easier.
Do you feel more athletic moving around back there
Yeah,
in
I
that
think so.
way?
Yeah.
What are the pros then to being like more of an old school on your feet guy, or are there? Is that just like a dead kind of style?
I mean, I see you'll see a couple guys still doing it. I was always taught where it was like easier to block. If you're on 2 feet, you can just drop to your knees quicker. You can move laterally more easier. In some aspects, I agree with that, but I think if overall, especially regarding the whole aspect, receiving, blocking, and throwing, if you work at it, I think being on your knee is more beneficial.
Beautiful. So then when you came to Murray, they gave you the freedom to do that, or they encouraged it?
They encouraged it. They encouraged
Okay,
it, and I
cool.
was like, yes, I want to do that. So it was a
Beautiful.
lot of
Who do
yeah.
you feel like who's been some of your catching mentors? Who's been really important to you in your journey
Mhm.
there?
Yeah, I'd mentioned it before. Marcus Hannell, the bullpen catcher for the Brewers. I worked with him a lot when I was younger.
Yeah.
And then I gotta give a lot of credit to my catching coach at Murray State, Hayden Cross. I think he's young and really understands the new style of catching.
Yeah.
And I think working with him and kind of using that new style, we were able to. It helped me a lot. I think just working with that young guy, who knew kind of that new
Yeah.
style.
Beautiful, man.
Throwing. Yeah.
Okay, man. I'm cool to move on to the MVC tournament here. This has been so fun for me too. You're doing great, man.
Thanks.
I'm loving this. I just love talking baseball, man.
Okay.
And so tell me about let's go MVC tournament at Illinois State. What memories are allowed? We can go game by game if you want, but
Sure.
did it feel like something was building? So 2-6. You went 2 for 6 in a 15-14 win against Belmont in the first game. Is that accurate? I
Yeah, I
thought I
believe
had that
so.
right.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Mhm.
Anything stand out from that game?
I think I mentioned it earlier where after we had came back and we were like I said we fought and we came back in that huge comeback win. That's when I had realized I was like, oh man, we can do some serious damage
Yeah.
here in the
Yeah.
postseason.
Yeah.
That was that.
And
After that game was the main one where I was like, oh, we can make a serious run here.
yeah, and I remember we kind of loosely following you guys this year and thinking like, man, wouldn't it be cool if they won the MVC or like won the MVC tournament, and that would have been so incredible, right?
Yeah.
Just a few years ago, Murray State was in the OVC. You guys switched over to a little bit better conference and whatnot. So, um, then game 2, 10-5 win versus SIU,
Yep.
5-2 win versus UIC. You went 3 for 5 in the 10-5 win at the end there. Any memories loud from any of those games that you feel like you really want to sit on or talk about or are memorable for you?
Winning.
Yeah.
That's it. Really, just winning it. I don't care how I don't care how I did. We won.
Oh, I love that. So then, okay, then we can move on then. So winning the tournament, you're going to get a bid. How is everyone feeling at this point? Like what is the energy of this team?
I think honestly, it was good, and especially once we knew we were going to be going to Oxford, because we had played them early in the year, and we were one strike away from
You played them
beating them
tough, really
early in the
tough.
year.
Yeah.
So we had that confidence where we were sitting there. We were like, we did it before. I feel like we're gonna go in there and actually we can do this. Like that was when we. I think that's what made us so good. It was we had that belief. We were like, we're good. We know we can beat these guys. And so I think that's just kind of our mindset where it's like, we're not the underdogs. We're going to go out there and we're going to beat you. So I think that's kind of
Not
how we
underdogs.
had that mentality where
Man.
just the
So
postseason.
you didn't feel like you were underdogs, and that's incredible. Man. Okay. All right. So then you guys are home for a few days, and then you figure out you're going to Oxford, and then you're like, oh my
That's when
gosh. And then you guys just bus there? How does this go? You fly there, bus there?
No, we didn't fly. No, we drove there. It was only yeah, it was only a 3-hour drive, so we didn't
Right. Yeah.
it wasn't that bad.
For sure.
We did it in the year, but yeah, then we got there, we had one practice and then played the next day.
Were there any words of inspiration or encouragement from Coach Skirka before you guys started this? Obviously, this is new territory for Murray State.
Yeah, it was it was awesome. It's kind of piggybacks to what I said. He right before we left for the first game, he said something where like we're not the underdogs, and he said there's the predator and the prey. Everyone's gonna go in there and thinking that you're the prey. No, we're gonna go out there, we're gonna punch him in the mouth, and we're gonna be the predator. We're gonna get right after him. And then when Hoagie hit that first pitch homer, we were like,
It's on.
yeah, we got
It's
this.
on.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're like
man.
we're not here. You're not gonna put us away lightly.
Tell me, obviously Hoagie hit a ton of
Yeah.
leadoff bombs this year. What would you guys just go nuts when he would do that? Just the energy of that. That's just such an incredible way to start a game.
I think I'm pretty sure whenever he hit a leadoff homer, we were undefeated when he hit a leadoff homer. So I think that was our mentality. When he hit that, we were like, yeah,
Over.
we're gonna win the game. It's already over. We're winning this game. Now, so then we just kept that mentality through the entire game, and that's why we were able to put up all these runs against these SEC and ACC teams.
Oh yeah.
We're going
I
out
love
there
that.
like, we can do this. We got this. We're good. So
You guys believed in yourselves. That's so
Oh, yeah.
special. Man. Okay, cool. So game 1 win, 9-6. You go 1 for 4 with an RBI. Like I said, you guys played them tough in the year. You said you already believed. Moving on to the Georgia Tech game, 13-11 victory. You go 1 for 2. Anything stand out there?
like I said, our resilience. We were up 10-3, I think, and then they put up a quick 7 spot in like the 6th, and we were like, and it was all of a sudden it was a tie game with 4 innings left, and we're like, oh god.
Ruh-roh. Yeah.
But then I think then we just quickly flipped the switch. We were like, wait, we're still the Predators. We're not going to run away from this. We're going to then go out and punch them right back in the mouth, and that's what we did.
We're still the Predators. And then a
So-
tough loss to Ole Miss after that. Can you take me through kind of what that felt like and the
Yeah.
feeling after that?
Yeah, it was weird because after the game, I was sitting there. I'm like, I wasn't sad. I was like, okay, we're gonna do this tomorrow. I had this feeling. I don't know why. I was saying it to everyone. I was like, I think we're gonna win tomorrow. Like I already said it. Like right after we lose, it's like, all right, that game never happened.
Yeah.
I feel like we're gonna win tomorrow, and we did.
I wondered that. I wondered like what you guys were feeling after that. Like that can be a demoralizing. You guys went down a 19-8 in that game.
Yeah.
Was it demoralizing? Hoagie said it wasn't at all. Like you guys were fired up, ready to get back in there, still believed in yourself. There was nothing like that, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. I had said it to a bunch of us. We're like, hey, this game never happened. We didn't play this game. Did we play this game today? No, we didn't play it.
Yeah.
We didn't play it today. So
Okay.
let's just go tomorrow. And then we went back tomorrow and jumped right back out of them. And it was like a new game. Why would you think about the game yesterday when you got a whole nother one today? It's kind of where
That is a great mentality for baseball, man. That will serve you well moving forward. Take me through this last game, man. Crazy win, 12-11. Ole Miss fights back. You have a monster game, 4 for 5. What stands out? What is loud about this?
Yeah, I mean, it was just like I said, it was a testament to how tough we were and how willing we were to not just roll over. Like we were gonna go out there and we were gonna fight, and we were gonna make you earn it, and we just played the way we could have played, and obviously we were rewarded for it.
Tell me about what it felt like getting that win. And knowing you're moving
Honestly,
on, like, wow, what are we doing?
I don't even remember. Honestly, if I'm gonna be honest, I barely.
You don't even remember?
I remember calling the last thing. Honestly, I remember calling my sister. Was like the first thing I remember in between the last out and like the celebration afterwards. Was calling my sister. I think is the last thing I remember, or the first thing I remember.
How long does it take for that adrenaline to come down after something like that?
Oh wow!
Did you sleep that night? Did you?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I was tired. So it was 4 days back to back catching, so I was pretty tired. So I was able to fall asleep.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. So then you're back home for like not very long, right? From what I think I know, and then you're headed to Durham. Like, oh my gosh, this is new territory for Murray State. What was the energy of the team? What was the atmosphere when you got to Durham? This is crazy. Tell me about it.
Excuse me. Yeah, it was. We were just excited. We weren't nervous. We weren't going there like, oh my god, this is insane.
Yeah.
So we just went into Oxford with 12,000 fans hating our guts.
Yeah.
And we handled business completely there. So we're going to go in Durham like, let's just do this again.
Yeah.
Let's just do it again. And Coach Krieger said it. He was like, hey, he said it after I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about it maybe, but after the first loss, he said, we don't got to win 2 tomorrow. Just win 1 tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And then
one game
we
at a
won
time,
that one. And then after that, he said, job's not finished. Let's win 1 more tomorrow. And that was kind of the mentality we had. We weren't looking backwards or forwards. We weren't looking at the game behind us or the game that was going to be played tomorrow. We were just focusing on the game that was being played that day. And I think that's what made us so successful.
Beautiful. And let me backtrack a little bit. We got to play at Ole Miss when I was down there, and that was an atmosphere unlike any other one we played at. I mean, they were brutal from the stands, razzing us and getting on us, and knew all kinds of stuff about my background and my family, and were using it on me. And like, it was interesting for sure.
Yeah.
So let's move on to this super regional here. This is nuts. Game 1, you guys take the L, 4-7. You go 1 for 4. Does anything stand out from this game?
Not really. I think I was talking about it with my dad. I think it was more of just I don't want to say culture shock, but it was kind of just like we're here. So it was kind of at first it was kind of like we had a little low because it was like, oh, we're here. Like, oh, we're not. It was kind of like that first game, a little skid. But then after the next game, then we just focused on the next game where it was like, okay, let's get back to Racer baseball.
Yeah, baseball and Racer baseball it was. You guys stomped them, 19-9 win, announcing your presence with authority in Durham, which is interesting,
yeah.
Right? Right? You go 3 for 4 RBIs. You're locked in. Tell me about that. Tell me about that game at the plate for you.
Yeah, I think it was, I can't take all. It was everybody. I mean, we were all locked in. It was like what we said. We were still the Predators. We were going to go in there and we were going to make them earn it, and we weren't going to go away easy. And so we were just going to like I said earlier, what Coach Krieger said, let's just win 1 today. To win 1 today, and then we'll just worry about tomorrow if it comes.
Okay, man. Game 3. You obviously know the magnitude of what is at stake here. No nerves before this, or how are you feeling?
Oh, I'm nervous. Yeah. I'm definitely nervous. I mean, if you're not nervous, I guess you don't really care.
Right, you're dead. Right.
Yeah, if you're not nervous, you don't care. But no, it was the same deal like I've been saying, where we just have to stick to our process. And if we stick to our process, more likely than not, we're going to win. And that's what we did. And
take me through that game. What are memories or flashes that stand out?
Well, first having to win twice was pretty insane.
Oh my gosh. Gosh.
After that got called back, I got back there and I was like, it would really suck if he hit a homer here.
And that's what everyone was thinking, right? That was what was going to probably happen next, like just by the law of probabilities, and
yeah, it was like it's bound to happen. If something like that happens, it's almost like it's it's gonna happen. So we were sitting there, I was sitting there, I was like, oh, man, like this.
Yeah.
But we were able to. I think I want to touch on that a little bit. I think that's what made us such a good team is we dogpiled, thinking we won, and we made it to Omaha.
Yeah.
And then we had to. The umpires was saying, no, 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 no.
You didn't reel that back. Crazy.
You didn't reel that back. And so
Right.
the home plate umpire came up to me. He was like, yo, you got to get a hold of your guys, and we're gonna review. So I had to go back out there. I was out there. I was like, hey, if you're on the field, if you're playing, I was like, go back to your position. If you're not, then we gotta get off the field because they're gonna do a review.
Yeah.
And I think that was a testament to how, like I said, stick to our process, how good we were.
Yeah.
We riled it right back in. We were
Yeah.
focused right from the get go, and then we were able to get that last out. We weren't still thinking about like, oh, that sucks. That's crap. We didn't win. Like, we were just able to lock it back in and just keep playing, and then obviously we were able to win.
I remember thinking, like, what would that feel like to have this emotional explosion of like, we're going to the College World Series, and then to be like, pause.
Nope,
We're gonna
you're not.
reel it back. You still got to play baseball. How do you do that? I remember thinking, like, this pitcher's adrenaline has to be like tingling through his fingertips right now. How is he supposed to get back out there and be precise? And you guys did it. You're incredible, man. Take me through that ground ball to end it.
Yeah, I think we have to give probably all the credit to Graham Kellum. We tell him he has the slowest heartbeat in the nation by far. There's nothing that will rattle him.
Nothing. Never gets to
So I knew I had the confidence where I knew that he was going to go back out there and make the pitches he needed to make in order for us to win, because that's what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
Oh man. So what did it feel like when that, oh, actually roll it back. They obviously got that call wrong, right? Do you agree? Or what are your thoughts?
I think it was the right call at the end of the day to overturn it. I don't think it was egregious enough to be interference. Obviously, I would take it any day.
Right.
It's free double play. But I mean, at the end, I think I had a feeling that's what they were going to do. But it was kind of. I was sitting there. I'm like, oh god. Then I was trying to just reel it back in, almost like we were talking about.
Okay. Stone catches that ball at first. What's the feeling? Tell me what that feels like. Thank
God. Like, it did nothing that he didn't hit a homer, that he didn't lace a ball in the gap, and the guy from first school. Like, it was a big sigh of relief. Like, we were just like, okay, we did it, and that was pace. Yeah.
Okay. So then, take me. What's Coach Gurka saying after this game? Is there anything to say after that, or is just you guys celebrating and
we're
loving
celebrating
each other?
Yeah. Loving it. We love all. We're hugging. We're crying. We're all of it.
Yeah.
All the good emotions.
Did you cry?
No.
Really? No. Okay. Let me ask you this. This gives me goosebumps. I wrote it here, but just think about this. You could have gone to the College World Series two different ways. If you had stayed at Louisville, maybe you play, but maybe you're a second, third stringer. Who would have thought that you transfer to Murray State and you end up in the College World Series and you see them there? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it was. We talked about it, and it's just kind of crazy how either way I would have gotten there. I get in theory either way, but I was just still super grateful to be a part of the run that we were a part of, and just being able to be a part of that team and just that culture. It was just the best I could have asked for.
Yeah, and you guys are going to go down in history. Like this team is not going to be forgotten. Like this is a very, very. I mean, one of the greatest stories in college baseball of all time. Mm-hmm. And that you were a part of it, and that a year ago you were a backup, and now you're the starting catcher on this team that makes this run, and you're about to get drafted. That's so beautiful, man. That is the most romantic thing about baseball. I love it. You got anything? Any thoughts? I mean, on that?
I talked about my parents. I was like, this, like the year could not have honestly. This was probably the best case scenario of everything. Like,
seriously,
I was fortunate enough to get an opportunity to play. I'm eternally grateful for. But then just the run we went on, it was something I wasn't expecting, and something I'll remember forever.
Now, did you ever? I mean, obviously things were happening fast. Do you feel like you had time or moments, at least in the College World Series or in these regionals, to like soak it in? Like, man, we're doing something really special, or did it just feel too fast?
I'd say in the regional was probably the most I was able to soak it in. Super regionals and Omaha, I feel like came and go really quickly.
Yeah.
Especially Omaha, that still doesn't feel real. I don't know. I remember Hoagie even said it too. I think he said it still doesn't feel real that we won. Like that when we played there, but it's just like I said, it's just an experience I'll never forget.
Yeah.
Super regional, super regionals, and all of it.
So then you guys go back to Murray State and just wash your clothes essentially and head back out, or what? How
Exactly.
quickly is
Yep.
that turnaround?
We got back late and threw our stuff in the laundry basket, put our jerseys in a pile, and went to sleep. Got up and we were off.
I asked Hoagie this, like, were there people reaching out with like deals and sponsorships and NIL or anything like that, or like what was going on there?
Yeah, so that was we mainly did that with Matt Parentown dealt with that. He started texting a bunch of these brands like saying, "Hey, I'm part of the Murray State team. Can we get some like sunglasses?" Like it just stuff like
Yeah.
that. So we were lucky enough to get a bunch of cool stuff like
Some
that.
swag,
But
yeah.
it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay. Like, does anyone have any NIL deals at Murray State, or is that not even a thing?
Well, I'm not sure, honestly. I'm not sure.
Okay. Tell me about arriving in Omaha. What'd that feel like?
Like I said, surreal. I mean,
Yeah.
in 1,000 years, it wouldn't have expected to go to Omaha. I mean, if you're a part of any team, really. I mean, the odds of any team getting to Omaha, whether you're us or Tennessee, is very, very small.
Yeah.
There's only 8 teams that can go out of 300 whatever. So it was just surreal, and it was kind of like I knew it was just going to be an experience that I remember forever.
What's the energy like there? You know, being a part of this elite group of, the best college teams in baseball, and you're a part of it.
Yeah, I think in one of his interviews, Dusty said it the best was, "I never felt famous until we got there. We never felt famous until we got there." And then all of a sudden, a bunch of kids and people were like, "Oh, can we get a picture? Can you sign our shirt? Can you sign our baseball?" Like all that cool stuff. Was like, whoa! Like we're actually people are
Yeah.
rooting for us, and we're actually like, I don't want to say making a difference, but we're like people are following and people are caring and watching.
Yeah.
I bet you didn't think you were going to sign so many autographs being at Murray State this year.
That wasn't on my bingo card, but
Okay, man. Like, and from what Hoagie said, there wasn't a whole lot that you guys were doing there besides essentially practicing and kind of resting. Is that kind of accurate?
yeah, we practiced. The opening ceremony was at the zoo. That was pretty cool. I'm a big zoo
Yeah.
guy. But yeah, it was based practice, rest, then play. That's basically what it was.
And then, so let's get to that UCLA game. You guys, had your scouting report ready to go. What stands out from this game? I was at that game. It was magical. Hard fought, 4-6 loss. You went 3 for 5. Just tell me take me through what you were feeling, what you were thinking, what stands out.
I went 1 for 3, I believe,
Oh,
with the walk. I think Hoagie went 1 for 5 or 3 for 5.
I had that backwards. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry, buddy. Sorry about
No,
that.
that's fine. Yeah, no, it was like I said, we had I like to say people say, "Oh, it sucks you guys lost." I'm like, I don't think we lost. We just ran out of time. Like we had all the momentum after
Yeah.
that. They had that big inning, and we had all the momentum after that. I knew that it was going to be a matter of time before we scored, and I was thinking, I was like, "God, can we just do it before the game's over?"
Right.
And obviously, we weren't able to do it, but I was sitting there, I was like, I still have full faith that we're going to come back and we're going to put together runs because this is what we've been doing all year.
Yeah. Yeah, and obviously it was cool. You guys belonged. I guess I was looking like, do you guys look different, or does the talent look different? But you looked every bit like you were supposed to be there and whatnot. What did it feel like after that game? Obviously it's 2 losses and you're done. What was the energy, mood?
Are you talking about after the Arkansas game or the UCLA?
UCLA.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it stung. It sucked. I mean, we wanted to win it. Like we said, we had it. I thought we had it in our grasp. We did. We could have won that game, but actually didn't. That's sometimes the way the cards fall. But
Sure.
yeah. But Coach Krieger said it. He's like, "Hey, it's not over. We're not done. We're not going home yet. We got more games to play." So it was
Beautiful.
a thing. And now he goes, "All right, that game's over. Let's focus on the next one that we got coming up."
Dustin Mercer had some incredible stuff that he said during the press conferences. He was kind of the darling of that. He called it being in baseball heaven. Do you have any thoughts on that? Did it feel like that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It was.
It was.
It was.
All right, man. Moving on. Take me to this Arkansas game. Obviously, Gage Wood was throwing fuzz, upper 90s with life. Like I said on the last podcast, I think he would have blanked every team there and some professional teams. Can you take me through this game and kind of what you were seeing and what that felt like and any memories?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, first off, like hats off to him. He threw incredibly. He threw great, and it sucked. I mean, because and if you would have told me that we would have held third seed Arkansas to 3 runs, I would have told you were crazy.
Yeah.
Honestly, with
Yeah,
how good
fighting
they were.
tough. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it never felt like we were out of it, but obviously having to go out there and face someone like Gage Wood, it was challenging. It really was. And all I gotta say is just really hats off to him. He pitched very well, and obviously then we couldn't get anything going, and that's the way it goes sometimes.
What did it look like in the box? What did that fastball look like?
Fast. It was fast. It was from it. It was spinning so much, and he had it from
Yeah.
such a low arm slot where it was rising. It looked like it would start down the middle, then it would just shoot up out of the zone.
Okay.
It was, and then he had that curveball. It was, I mean, just like I said, hats off to him. He pitched phenomenal.
Devastating. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that about as high level of a guy as you guys had seen this year? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And so when he threw, when his 119th pitch was 98 miles an hour, I was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, that's just one of those things where it's like you can't do anything about it. I mean, that guy's just
Right.
he's on. I mean, it's just
And
can't really.
it actually looked like it had late life, like rise to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's special.
Definitely did. Yeah.
Okay. Then what did it feel like then? Obviously, you guys did not come out victorious. What did it feel like after that game was over with?
There were a lot of tears
Yeah.
after that one. But I didn't. I was kind of sitting there thinking, all right, don't be sad, it's over. Be happy that it happened.
Yeah.
And I think I felt worse for obviously our seniors. Obviously,
Yeah.
we had a great run, best what we could have asked for. But obviously, it would have been nice to win a game, maybe win the whole thing. But obviously, it always sucks seeing those guys who might possibly be their last game. Like you just don't know, and that was probably the hardest part. I think having to watch that, but yeah.
Did you guys have any sort of like team meeting or team talks after this, like saying goodbye or anything like that, or how'd that go?
Yeah, I mean, we had our usual end of game meeting in the dugout, and there were a lot of tears from all of us, including Coach Skirka. Yeah, he's just it wasn't no coaching. It was basically I love you guys.
Yeah,
We all love each other, and just
for sure.
it was just a heartfelt way to end it.
And there, from what I think I know, you have a very strong chance of being picked up in this upcoming draft. Are you essentially are you moved out of Murray? Like your stuff's out and you're
Yeah, brought everything back home. Yep, just for the summer. Yeah.
I mean,
Moved back.
if you didn't get drafted, would you go back?
Yep.
Oh, for sure. Okay. Cool. Okay. Is there okay? We'll just leave it as that. Scouting wise, what are you hearing? If you feel comfortable sharing anything with me, like what are you being told?
Yeah, I'm not gonna go. I don't want to get into too many specifics, but I mean,
Sure.
I've been told that I have a good chance, and of getting drafted, and I really hope I do because that's always been my goal. It's always been my dream to play professional baseball, and obviously, if I am fortunate enough to get that opportunity, I'll be super grateful for it.
Are there any parameters that would make you not sign if you were picked up?
Probably not.
Yeah. Okay. Well, cool, man. Well, we're moving on to kind of to more of our like kind of fun questions here. There's some Murray questions here. Are you needing a bathroom break or how are you feeling?
No, I'm doing great.
Keep rolling.
Oh yeah,
All
let's
right,
do
my
it.
man. Let's power through here. We've got some fun questions here. I think they are at least. Let's go. This is kind of a weird question, but I think it's interesting. What are some of your favorite baseball smells?
Definitely the burnt rubber. Like when you foul a pitch off and you
Oh yeah,
give your bat a sniff to see where you hit it. That's mine.
I love
By
that
far.
smell. What an interesting answer. I love that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Okay,
That's it.
that works. Favorite team growing up?
Cardinals. I'm a Cardinals fan. My dad's from St. Louis, so I'm a Cardinals fan. I like the Brewers too, but my mom grew up here, but mainly Cardinals fan.
Interesting, because I saw that you rooted for the Blues as well. So you're just like a St. Louis sports guy.
St. Louis sports fan. Yep.
Did you grow up playing hockey?
I regret not doing that.
Interesting. Okay, I wondered being a Wisconsin guy. Who are some of your favorite all-time Cardinals?
Yadier Molina,
Yachty,
probably my
yeah,
number one. Obviously,
yeah,
I watched him all the time when I was younger,
yeah.
catching wise, learning from him, kind of taking things from his game, all that stuff.
Love that. Okay. Who's your favorite player of all time?
Yeah, Malou.
Is Yadi? Okay. Well, then that's going to be one of your answers then. Who are your three favorite catchers of all time?
Gotta go. Yeah, Yachty. I liked Wilson Contreras when he was catching,
Yeah.
and then Buster Posey.
Well said. This is a weird question. I bet you've seen it, so you know it's coming. I played with a catcher in junior college named Brian Pinkstaff that did not wear a cup. Is this as insane as I think it is as a
Yeah.
catcher?
Yep.
Okay.
Insanity. Complete insanity. If you don't, yeah, I don't even know what to say. Basically, you need to work up. I don't know.
He was an interesting guy. Okay. Favorite three favorite swings of all time.
Ken Griffey Jr. number one.
So classic.
I loved Albert Pujols' swing when he was with the Cardinals.
Yeah, it changed when he went to the Angels.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. I like Nolan Arenado's swing just because of how different it is.
It is.
I like
What?
that. I like that.
Let me
a
ask
lot.
you, what stands out about it stylistically that you think is unique? I really think, his lead elbow is unique, how he really will draw that back in to create space. You know what I'm talking about? Where he ends up being like here
Yeah,
a
where he's
lot.
kind of like one of these.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Well, because like I said earlier, where he's one of those guys who'll really stick his nose in there,
Like
and
you.
that's kind of why like when I like so I kind of took a little bit from him, but yeah, like that sort of thing where it's kind of it's different. Not a lot of people do it, but it works, and he's been really good.
I think you've got a really pretty swing. It doesn't jump out to me that it looks like anyone else's. Is there anyone that you felt like you have tried to emulate over the years that you try to pick little pieces of?
Fun fact. With my hands, we mentioned it earlier, where I like to think about kind of like Ronald Acuna, where it looks when he swings, he doesn't move it. He doesn't forcefully move his hands when he
doesn't?
loads. It's just natural separation. So that's what I like to
Yeah.
do. I don't think about besides where my barrel being upright. I don't think about my hands
Interesting.
moving because I know that my body's naturally going to put my hands in a good position to do what I want them to do.
Ooh. So you're just trusting that. That's beautiful.
Yeah, just trusting pure athleticism.
Okay. What was your batting walkout music and why?
It was Motley Crue by Post Malone. And it's a cool story behind it. Well, not cool story. I like the story. So my first ever collegiate start at Louisville, my freshman year, the pitcher who was pitching, starting for us, his name was Riley Phillips, and his walkout song was that song. Was Motley Crue by Post Malone. The whole song, and I'd never heard it before, and I was nervous, obviously, when I first started. But when that song started playing, I was sitting there. I'm like this is a good song. I had a song. I completely forgotten that I was nervous because I was listening to the song.
Okay.
And when I got the opportunity to do that, to have that song as my walk up, I was like, yeah, I'm going to take that because it reminds me to relax and kind of go back to that beginning where just enjoy it. Like this is cool. Everything's cool. Just have fun.
Oh, beautiful. Well, when I put this episode out, when I put it on Instagram, you can add a song to it that kind of plays over it. So I will absolutely add that, my man. Have you used anything else, or has that been your song?
I forgot my other two walk up songs. Honestly, yeah, I forgot my other two from freshman sophomore year.
Take me this, and I'm interested in this. I got let me grab my catcher's mitt back. So I've got I absolutely love old school like Horween Rawlings Heart of the Hide catcher's mitt. This is like a collector's at this point. But tell me about your catcher's mitt, what you use, glove of choice, size, all that stuff.
Yeah, it's the Rawlings, I believe is the Heart of the Hide Rawlings. I like Rawlings, very durable. I like very durable, easy to break in, and I go with the 34 because it just gives me more space to catch and do what I want to do with the baseball.
And that's on the bigger side of catcher's mitt, right? What does it go down to 32 and a half, or what does it go down to?
Usually the smallest you'll go to is like 32. Yeah, 32 and a half. Yeah.
Is 34 and a half the biggest?
I don't know.
Not sure.
Okay. I don't know, but I know that it did take a little bit to get used to having the bigger glove, but once I got used to it, I love it.
And do you prefer, like, some people like a little bit looser feel to their mitt and their webbing and whatnot? What's your preference?
I guess honestly it all depends. Like If it's cold, if it's wet and cold outside, I would prefer to have it
Yeah.
obviously a little more stiffer. But then if it's really hot, I like to have it a little loose so things don't like dry up on it. Because I like to. I mean, it all just depends. It doesn't really matter. I won't be overly upset if it's leaning one way or the other.
How many catcher's mitts do you have, or usually are in rotation? Like I've had some other guys on that are catchers, and they've got their gamer, they got their one they're backing up, they've got their beater, like they've got like 4 mitts.
I got one.
You got one, really?
Yep, I have one.
Do you feel like you need more?
Nope.
Really? Well,
Yep,
what
I
happens
might,
if
I might buy one soon, but
I mean, like catcher's mitts get abused and blown up? Like what happens if if something happens?
if I can try to repair it, and then if I get one, well, like I said, I'm gonna try to buy one here soon. But yeah, I mean, throughout the year, I just never. This year was the first year I'd used that glove, so it's a new glove. It's only
Right.
a couple months old, but yeah, I mean, I go, oh, I'll just try to fix it until I can break in a new one.
Are you going through one a year? Or how quickly are you running through those?
About one every couple of years,
Okay.
2-ish years. Yeah.
Any specifics on how you like to break them in? Any ointments or potions or ways that you like to do things?
Catch the ball.
Simple.
To break it in
Right.
how it's meant to be broken in, I guess.
All right, let's go bat model, size, stuff like that. What you got? What are your favorites?
Okay.
Let's start with metal.
Metal. All right, cool. Yeah, the Louisville Slugger, I'm a big Louisville Slugger fan. 33 inch. I don't think I'm big enough to swing a 34 yet. And then wood bats, I'm a big the Louisville Slugger, the 271 model. I really
That's
like.
the Griffey model.
Yeah, I like a thinner handle.
Yeah.
My bats. So that's kind of my preference.
Okay. On metal bats, do you do anything with the grip? Do you take off it and put on tape, or do you no? It's just how it is.
I'll leave it how it is. Yep.
What about like pine tar, Moda stick, any of that kind of stuff? Spray.
Yeah, I mean, if I need it, I'll spray a little pine tar, put a little pine tar on it. I put it only on in between the handle and the barrel. I don't put it on the handle at all or anything like that.
Okay. What's the best baseball movie of all time, and what's the worst?
Best baseball movie is Moneyball. Worst, none. I don't know. There probably are no bad baseball movies. There probably are no bad baseball movies.
Summer Catch.
That movie?
Have you watched it?
No.
Drives me. It's Freddie Prinze. It's the Cape Cod League. It's ridiculous. He ends up like leaving midway through a no-no in the Cape to go chase Jessica Biel, and it just drives me insane every time. So I can't do that movie anymore. So it's probably a little too old for you, man.
Yeah, I haven't even heard of it.
Never heard of it?
No.
Oh man. Well, I am 40 years old, and what are you, 22? How old are you?
21.
21. Okay, yeah. So, but you know what? One of the cool things that I found about this podcast, because I've talked with guys that are, Hall of Fame managers, and I've talked to guys that are high school all-staters, is that baseball is a common language,
Oh yeah.
And if you're truly a baseball dude and you've lived it and it's in your soul, then we can connect instantly. Like, and we have. Like, we've been talking. Like, you and I have never spoken before. Since we talked for like 2 minutes yesterday, but I feel like I've been talking to an old friend this whole time. And it's baseball, man. It's beautiful.
Exactly. It brings people together.
Yeah, it really does, man. And I actually already, this was one of the things that I already asked you, but I was going to ask you, have you always been a stash goatee guy? You already said that you kind of are, or you started it. Tell me about, are you a weight room guy? If yes, are there any specifics on kind of how you like to train or things you like to not do?
Yeah, I mean, I'll do everything. When I lift, I'll do Olympic lifts. I'll do everything. But there's nothing really I'll try to avoid. The only thing I try to avoid is not going heavy on my shoulders.
Yeah.
I try to you don't need a lot to work out your shoulders.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's the only thing I try to avoid, is not doing too much weight with my shoulders, so I can, getting hurt or something like that.
Okay. This next one is fun for me. I love looking into all the mechanics and hitting coaches and philosophies and all these different things. Are there any hitting coaches that you really like? Are there any philosophies or mechanics that you really subscribe to?
Yeah. So when I was in high school, I worked with a coach named Dave Kirilov. He had his son Alex was a first round pick out of high school, played for the Twins. He actually just retired because of, I think it was an injury or something. But he harped a lot on timing, and that's kind of how I got to. I can give a lot of credit to him with focusing on timing, because if you can have the most beautiful swing in the world, but if you're gonna get your doors blown off, it doesn't matter. Right. So it's focusing on timing and kind of how to kind of incorporate that with different pitchers and different speeds of the different pitches and all that kind of stuff. It kind of helped me kind of get the game from kind of the youth aspect to kind of the more advanced aspects of the game.
Interesting. Let me ask you this. There's obviously a dance back and forth between a pitcher and a hitter of when do you start in terms of like getting ready? Like there's been a huge jump in baseball, like getting ready really early these days. Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on that? When do you start moving?
Yeah. So I like to, I believe in having some sort of movement all the time, because if you're going to be completely still, you're going to be not as reactive to things. But if you have some sort of, so I like to have some sort of like just small movement backwards while the pitcher's moving, and then once he lifts his leg is when I start to lift mine. So it's basically, I'm basically trying to mirror him, and when he's coming at me is when I'm usually going back at him.
Okay, gotcha. Are there any do you follow any Instagram type hitting coaches that you like or think are worth listening to?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Next question. We'll get into some of your teammate stuff, and let's just go. Let's start with funniest teammate. What you got?
I agree with Hoagie. Jacob said he's pretty funny. I also think Nick Shuddy is a funny guy too. He has good one-liners. He's quick on his feet, and he's pretty witty. So
shout out. Who is the sauciest guy on the team?
Silva.
Sylvie?
Yeah, Silva. Yeah, by far.
So I had that right?
Yeah. Isaac, yeah.
I mean, obviously, like we're on, I'm not a part of this team. I don't know any of you guys' personalities and whatnot, but just watching, I was like, this dude.
Oh, yeah.
It's got to be him, right?
Yeah, you can just tell. There's the way he goes about his business. It's just.
Carries himself. Oh,
yeah. For sure.
He was fun to talk to on the phone. Who is the wildest teammate?
In what aspect?
In any aspect that you want to take that.
Oh God. I have no idea.
You can skip. It's no big deal.
I don't know. I guess I could go. I don't know. Yeah,
Let me ask you this.
Yeah,
I'll answer for you, or I'll say something funny. All of us on the, all of us former racers, baseball players, we were loving Dan. How do you pronounce his last name?
Talking.
He just looked like Kenny Powers incarnate out there. The hair was flying around and he was sweaty, and he's not like a classically looking athlete. And we were just loving that guy. Is he fun, or what's his vibe?
He's Dan. I could say Dan's wild. He's a character. But he's a great guy. He's a great teammate. Love him to death. He's a competitor. He wants to win, and that's what you need.
Okay. We were thoroughly enjoying him. All right, who's the best athlete on the team?
I'm gonna say Dusty, probably.
Pretty special athlete. Anything stand out?
He's good at everything.
Everything, yeah.
He's good at everything, yeah.
What pitcher had the most movement? Let's say fastball. What?
Silva.
Everything just runs everywhere. Nuts. Yeah. Love that. Best position player arm.
Probably Dusty.
Really? Yeah.
Probably Mercer, yeah.
Fastest guy on the team. Him again?
Probably Dustin Mercer, if I want to be honest. Like I'm saying, he's just the best. He's a good athlete. He's a really good athlete.
And I've got that guy lined up too, and I can't wait to hear his story too. From what they gave us little blips about you guys during the whole thing, and that he kind of like walked away from baseball for a summer, and then was like, "Oh, I think I'm going to play again." And like, oh, you didn't know that?
I knew he was working in an office job. I think last year during the summer he was working at internship or was working a job.
Apparently,
I knew that.
Yeah, he thought he was like done, like wasn't doing anything baseball wise anymore, and they kind of had a change of heart. Like maybe I want to go use that last year of eligibility, and then
thank God he did.
Oh yeah, you go to the College World Series, no big deal, right?
Right, yeah. Last year I'll go to Omaha. That's fine.
Yeah, no big. Biggest prankster.
Hmm. I'd say all of us.
All of
All
us.
we
All you guys.
we'll go. We'll all mess with each other.
Okay. Hardest worker.
Oh man. Hmm.
Logie
I'm
said
gonna say
Cunningham.
I'm gonna say Hoagie. Then I'm gonna go with Hoagie.
Really?
Hoagie is the epitome of I think what you want in
Really?
a player. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Leader just works. He just
Yeah.
works.
Love that. Who's the best dresser?
Oh man. I'm gonna go with Nico Bermio.
I can see that. He was smooth, man.
Yeah, sometimes some of his fits are good. I'm probably the worst, if I'm gonna be honest. I'm probably the worst. Me and Dan are probably the worst dressed, I'm gonna say.
What's your
If you don't know,
go-to? Or why are you so bad?
t-shirt and shorts. I don't care how I look. I don't care.
Now give me a little bit on Nico. Like what kind of outfits would he be pulling together?
Yeah, I mean, just everything. I mean, everything just sometimes it just works. Everything just
What kind of
works. Like
style?
an all black, good style. I mean, just
He just
everything.
had he had like a smoothness, like a style to
Yeah,
him as a player.
yeah,
You could tell.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. That's it. That's him as a person. So
I love that. And there was a whole gaggle of people with his merchandise on at the College World Series. They looked like family members. It was really
yeah,
cool to see.
probably. Yeah, I think it was probably family. Yeah,
There was a ton of them. Yeah, it was. Who's the easiest to get on to like rile up in like a funny way?
Dan, Dan talking.
Really?
You can push his buttons and he'll. It's funny. It's funny to mess with him.
Okay. Who's the most vocal leader?
I would like to say. I would like to hopefully say me, but I'm not gonna say. I'm gonna say Carson Garner.
Okay. Okay.
Carson
And
Garner.
he's gonna be a guest here too. I think he's out in the draft league right now, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Doing
he's
some
up there.
things
Yep.
for sure. Who is the pick me up teammate? You know, if you're scuffling, who's gonna put their arm around you and say, you know, I got you.
I would say all of us.
All you guys.
That's all of us. I
Beautiful.
mean, that's again that attests to how good we were this year and how close we were. It's you could be over 5 and a pitcher will come up to you and be like, "Hey, it's all right. You'll get him next time." You could have a bad inning and a shortstop will come up to you, "Hey, you're good, man." Like all of us, like we're all for each other.
I love that. Who who is the heartbeat of that team?
Hmm. I'm gonna say there were. I'm gonna say there were. I'm gonna say there were 4. All of our seniors,
Okay.
our position players senior were
Yeah, I can see
Carson,
that.
Hoagie, Dusty, and Dan. I would say
I love that.
just those old guys, leaders, leading by example.
Who? Okay, opposite ends of the spectrum. Who is probably like the most intense kind of a dude, and who's like the most easygoing?
Well, apparently it's me. I guess according to Hoagie. I guess I'll go right back at Hoagie. I'll go
Okay.
Jonathan Hogarth. I'll go Jonathan Hogarth.
Wait, for most intense?
Yeah.
Who's the most
He's
easygoing?
Ooh. Luke Mastone's pretty cool. Graham Kellum, like I
Oh
said,
yeah. Yeah.
lowest heartbeat in the world.
Okay.
Just goes out, does his business, and then doesn't
So,
expect anything.
were there any funny traditions, sayings, or mottos? Like during my time, we called ourselves the Dirty Breads, and we said we're bringing it on and off the field, and that's probably why we were middle of the road OVC, and you guys go to the College World Series.
No, I mean I don't. I mean we were. I wouldn't think there's anything specific that we did. No, yeah, nothing. I mean, there's nothing special I could think. I mean, we were like I said, we just played. We always said just racer baseball. We just played racer baseball.
Now, do you guys ever pay respect to the thoroughbreds and the breds? You guys have any
Mhm.
alternate uniforms, or is that something you guys think is cool, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so we our hitting motto is based on it's breads. It's just kind of how our hitting motto basically kind of that gritty get in there and battle and fight and do whatever you can do to just get to the next guy. It's kind of
And then,
our
so for those of you that don't know, I want to say it was 2012 to 2014-ish. Murray State switched over to be the racers, but the baseball team used to be the thoroughbreds and the breds, and all athletics did. At some point, it was too much of a mouthful in the papers, so every other sport besides baseball switch to the racers. But Johnny
That's right.
Reagan, the famous coach of Murray State, said, "We're not doing that." And
Yep.
I don't know how he had the juice to do that, but they stayed the breads for a long time. I'm
Mhm.
as you can see, I've got a bread sign behind me. I've got Dunker the tattoo
Oh yeah.
right here on me. A bunch of us have that. Love that old school logo and whatnot. So
Mhm.
I'm happy. I'm appreciative to have been a bread and a racer too. So,
Mhm.
um, who is the best storyteller on the team?
Mhm. I'm gonna say Harper McClendon. When he's talking and he's telling you, you want to you want to listen. It grabs he grabs your attention. You want to listen to him.
This is a totally off the cuff question here. The landscape of college baseball has changed so much where people move around and whatnot. Do you guys get hurt feelings or feel things in any way when someone decides to leave a program, you
No,
know?
no, I mean there could be 100,000 different reasons why someone did something. You don't. We try not to be any like have any hard feelings or have any
Judgment.
grudges towards
Yeah.
anybody. No, no,
Okay.
it's no.
That's just what it is now. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
People got to
It's,
do what they do is best for them. Obviously, Dom just left, right? Or Decker just left, right?
yep.
Going to Ole Miss. Yeah.
hmm
Yep. Okay. Let's go. Best nickname, worst nickname on the team.
Hmm. I like mine, Squilly. I like that one. That's a good one. Um, Worst one? Oh, Chad. Jack Wajda, we call it Chad. That one, I didn't like that. I don't even know why we started calling him because he's just a Chad. I don't even know. I think I didn't Hoagie say that? I think he might have.
He just said the same thing. He didn't really have
Oh
much of an
yeah,
explanation for it. It's just one of
yeah,
those things like someone starts calling
yeah.
someone something and then
I don't
that's
even
what it
remember
is.
how that. It just started happening. Now we just called him Chad. So
Whose swing on the team do you like the most?
Carson Carter.
Why? You just think it's pretty
It's
or
just it's pretty.
yeah,
It's a professional swing. It just
it
is.
is. I absolutely agree. Who's
Yeah.
got the best flow on the team, the best lettuce?
I will if before I cut my hair, I'd like to say me, but
You
I had
did have
some
some nice flow going.
I did, yeah, but I'm gonna say Harper McClendon. His hair is long and I think it's pretty sweet. I'm gonna be honest.
Now I'm a little I don't know every single name. They kept
hmm
cutting. Who was the pitcher with the flaming red mullet that was that they kept showing on TV?
Oh, Kane Elmy?
Oh man,
He's
that
got
thing
a red.
was
Oh no. Preston Chadoan maybe.
yeah yeah
Yeah,
yeah.
it was more curly and it was longer. Yeah,
Oh man, that thing was special.
he's got. I'm actually gonna change my answer. Him. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Harper, but I'm
That
gonna
thing
go with
was
him.
beautiful. He's a beauty. There we go. New
I'm gonna
answer
go.
there. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was totally disappointed. Hoagie was incredible, but this next question disappointed me. Who's the best dancer on the team?
Oh man, shoot. I don't think I've seen anybody dance on our team.
You guys
If
aren't
I'm
having
going,
dance parties?
we had freshmen do karaoke, but
Okay.
that's
Well,
about it.
there's a reason why you guys went to the College World Series, and like I said, my era was middling in the OVC. And you
Nah.
got to trade College World Series for dance parties. So, let's go. You already talked about this. Take me through a day in the life, um, in Murray for you.
Okay.
What's your day to day
So,
routine?
are we going fall or spring?
Let's do one of each.
Okay, so fall, I had class every day, so I'd wake up. I don't like eating breakfast. I just don't like doing that. So I would wake up, go to class, then I would probably then after that go get lunch, and then we'd practice, and then because I had transferred in, I had study hall. I had study hall hours I had to do, so I'd do that, and then sometimes or if we had to lift, I'd lift and then study hall, and then by that point it was 8:30, and then I went to bed.
Yeah.
It was rinse and repeat. And then
Now
the
take me through.
spring,
Yeah.
and then spring, a lot more like I still had class every day. Wake up, go to class, come back, make food, eat lunch, and then I'd then go to the field, play, go back home, sleep, and then do it again.
There you
Pretty
go.
basic.
Baseball
I'm gonna be
life.
honest. That's right.
What are you most proud of looking back on your career at this point?
Omaha.
Yeah.
Going to Omaha. It's just
Yeah.
nothing else like it.
Where do you see your career going from here?
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about earlier, I would love to get an opportunity to play professional baseball. It's always been my dream.
Yeah.
I want to, obviously, like everyone, I want to play in the major leagues, but like I said, I'd be eternally grateful for the opportunity I get, and I'm just looking forward to seeing what happens in this next couple weeks.
Well, I have no more questions for you, my friend. How was this for you?
It was great. I had a great time. It's fun.
You had a good time?
Great time.
What did you think when I first got a hold of you and was trying to get you to come on?
Well, I was saying, I was like, oh, it's cool. You named listed all the people you had done with. I was like, oh, it seems like a cool thing to do. I mean, it'd be sweet. I mean, I've never done a podcast before, so
Never done one? You were great,
no,
man. This
it's
was awesome.
really great. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, cool, man. So you obviously got the draft coming up here. Essentially, up until that time, are you just working out and whatnot and hanging out?
Yep, I'm
Hitting?
working out, hitting, doing work, and then chilling out. And then yeah, just seeing what happens. Hopefully,
Yeah.
I'll get an opportunity.
Do you feel like we've done a good job of kind of working through your career and all the things that you've kind of been through and whatnot?
I don't think there's something that you didn't talk about, so I think you did a pretty good job.
Thanks, man. I love doing a deep dive. I love understanding where people came from, why they got there, their clues to success, things that they overcame and whatnot. And I thought your story was just so beautiful. I mean, obviously you're a high level guy where you get picked up by Louisville. You don't get picked up by Louisville if you're some middling guy, right? Like they think you're legit. So you end up
Yeah,
there, things don't quite work out, you get hurt, you kind of get put on the back burner, hit the portal, end up at Murray State, which some people would say is a downgrade, but and then this beautiful thing happens,
I know,
this
incredible,
man, I
incredible.
still can't believe it, dude. I still cannot believe that
Can't
you guys did it, that I was in Omaha watching you a couple weeks ago, right?
even.
And now I'm sitting here talking to you. And it's just like you got a chance to start and you made the absolute best of it. You made the College World Series. You're going to get drafted. You're going to achieve your dream of playing professional baseball. And like a year ago, I bet you if I would have told you any of this was going to happen, you'd have been like, I
I
don't
would have said you
believe
were.
you. Right? It's a
I
crazy
would have,
concept,
yeah, no, I would have called you crazy.
man. Yeah, I mean, it just goes to that's what's so romantic about baseball that like these
Hmm.
type of things can happen, these kind of stories can happen. You guys, like I said, will forever be etched in baseball lore as this team that and Murray State went to the College World Series. Half the
Yeah.
people that I mean, before this, people didn't know who Murray State was.
Yeah,
I
they
mean, a
didn't
lot
know
of
they didn't
people.
know what Murray was. Yeah, they didn't know it was they probably didn't even know it existed.
The only time people ever, connected Murray State was
John,
with basketball, right?
yeah, John, right, yeah.
Let me ask you that then. I asked Hoagie this. I know you know where this, do you know where I'm going with this? Um,
I don't believe
Murray
so.
State's always been known as a basketball school. They,
Hmm.
John Morant, they crack the top 25 every once in a while. Been to the tournament a few times. What you guys did, they've never done. Is Murray a baseball school now, or are we headed there? What do you think?
Let's make it a baseball school.
It's a baseball school now. Murray State is officially a baseball school. I
Right.
love it. Cool, man. Well, you said earlier that your favorite movie was Moneyball. It's one of my favorite movies too. It's just so incredible. There's a quote from there that I love that makes me feel things. I'm gonna read it right now, and then I'm gonna add a little something at the end here. There's a quote that where the scout is telling Billy Bean something, and he
Hmm.
says, "We're all told at some point in time that we can no longer play the children's game. We just don't know. We don't know when that's going to be. Some of us are told at 18, some of us are told at 40, but we're all told. And the beautiful thing is, my friend, is that your career is just starting. Like you're not being told today. You get to keep with that, you get to keep a jersey on your back. And I'm so excited to watch what happens with you next. Like I said, I see you playing for Doe in the big leagues one day. I think your lefty stick plays. You got a beautiful swing. You obviously handle yourself incredibly behind the plate. Coach Atkins talked about, seeing you there. All these guys talked about seeing you as this high level ceiling. I got nothing else for you, man. This has been incredible. Thank you so much for giving me some of your
Thank you.
time.
Oh,
This
thank you.
truly has
Thank
been a
you.
journey worth remembering. You got anything else for me, brother?
Nothing but thanks. Thank you.
Nothing but thanks. Cool. Well, I got nothing else for you guys. So thanks again for listening to this. This has been Will Vierling, incredible, the Murray State catcher, future pro here. Watch out for this, guys. Again, thank you so much for your time. This has truly been a journey worth remembering. The post game spread. We are out of here. All right, my man.
All
Cool.
right.